All right, you're live with Yankees Unloaded. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. He is Gary Sheffield Jr. The Yankees were embarrassed today by the Cleveland Guardians, who are a very good baseball team, to be fair. But we're going to get into it. Before we do, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, stay a while, enjoy. We also have a Patreon. If you want to support, we're going to be breaking down game film. We're going to be doing isolated talking head videos. So just some extra content to chew on. If you're interested, the link is in the description below. But today, Gary, you and I are going to be talking about Camilo Doval. Obviously, he is the prompt, or at least the main topic today. We're going to be talking about Yovani Cruz as well, and why the hell he's not up here. We're going to be talking about Carlos Legrand, the development to move him out of the rotation in AAA and into the bullpen when he could be coming up to the Bronx. We have Judge. We actually have somewhat of an idea now why he was struggling at the plate, potentially dealing with an injury. We're going to talk about that, as well as Joel Sherman. We're going to talk about Ryan Jeffers, and we're also going to be talking about Adley Rutschman a little bit. Jim Bowden kind of gave us a little bit of doomsday, saying that, you know, the Yankees really won't be trading anybody except for maybe Spencer Jones and Ben Haas. We'll talk about that.
Talk to Jim.
And then to kind of wrap up our show, we of course have prize picks, but our highlight for tonight is Gary's favorite player in the world, Mason Miller.
Mason Miller, let's go. My mom's gonna be pissed when she sees this.
She is gonna kill you.
Set it off air. She's not gonna like it. No Padres fan wants to trade Mason Miller. A lot of people think, oh, he's just not available. Why would the Padres ever trade him? They're not playing very good baseball right now. They can't score. They can't hit in general. I mean, Fernando Tatis Jr.'s hit one homer. Manny Machado's hitting $180, and everyone always says, oh, it'll get better. You don't know that because we happen to be one of the teams we're playing in the AL East. They're not. They're playing in the NL West, with just so happens, Jake, to have the best team in baseball in it, in the Los Angeles Dodgers. So we're going to talk Mason Miller, what makes him attractive, you know, for the Yankees bullpen, maybe moving Bednar out of that position. We've got a few free agents in our bullpen. Does it work? Who do we give up? What's there to risk? We'll talk it in depth. And Jake, by the way, before we go, I do see some people in our comments asking about the Patreon being dropped in the comments. I believe it's in the description, right?
It's in the description, but of course I can drop it in our chat in the comments section because we really want to get you guys in there. We're going to start this week putting out some stuff on both sides. I think I'm going to work on that. The Daniel Jackson. I want to do a prospect preview on him.
I think that was Brian Cashman who dropped that name, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I was looking into him, watching some of his tape that I could find. I like him, so I'm going to do the kind of an isolated breakdown on him. Not using game film. That'll just be like a talking head video. But then we can talk about some game film. Maybe look at Austin Wells again. Maybe look at Aaron Judge. We haven't quite figured out how we want to go about it, but we're going to do something this week for you guys to get something out there. So as you can see, the Patreon is right in there now. Shout out to Scott Ross congratulating me on Myles Garrett. Really do appreciate
you gotta love my mom's super chat. It says, shut the F up, you can't have them, or some say yo mama. See, when I texted her earlier today, she was a lot nicer than that. But I'll tell you what, no one wants to trade big time talent. The Padres didn't want to trade Juan Soto. It's pretty much all situational with business. The business side of the game really gets in the way, right? Why would you trade Shohei Ohtani if you're the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim? Well, Jake, he wasn't coming back to the organization and the team just wasn't very good. That was the reason. And you and I were like, they got to trade this guy. But we're going to get to Mason Miller later in the show, but I appreciate it, Mom. As always, just a way with words. And Slim, we're going to get to you here in a second.
And
Jake,
Izzy,
what's up?
real quick, I'm going to just address this because I want to get the show going. But the Patreon is not $36 a month. That's what has been signed up so far. That it shows that for whatever reason. So
why would it ever? Why would I saw that? I was like, what is that button supposed to be? Couldn't figure it out for the life.
So now people are so confused, thinking, wait, it's $36 a month. It's like, no, it's not. So
wait, so like if Izzy subscribes, it's going to add to it?
Yeah.
Oh, so
there's
I
going
guess
to be
everyone will know our business.
I know. It is kind of funny how that works, but you know, I guess in a way, like it's all like people are excited for us. You know, so we appreciate that. Just to quickly go over it, and then we'll get into the show. $9.99 a month is the in-depth Yankees film room breakdowns. So we're gonna have that. These are ad-free videos that are exclusively on Patreon. This is just extra Yankees Unloaded. This is not, what do they call it with the MCU now? It's not like required to watch to enjoy the movies, like those TV shows that they come out with. It's not required to watch these to understand Yankees Unloaded. Right. But we do appreciate you if you want to, support us further. And then the $4.99 a month window, because you get access to both, obviously, if you get the $9.99. But if you get the $4.99, that's the extra quick hitter Yankee videos. That's where we're going to be focusing on stuff that the algorithm would laugh at us for posting. Like if I want to make a Daniel Jackson breakdown and if he makes sense for the Yankees or whatnot,
YouTube would just club us over the head.
YouTube would be like, ha, and never show it to anybody.
YouTube, and we'll just be perfectly honest with you. We're always transparent on the show. There's a business side of doing a YouTube show, and when you put in 2 hours worth of work and you do all the editing, you do all the thumbnails, and you talk about Mason Miller, you're gonna have some traction there. People are excited about Mason Miller. You know who people aren't excited about? Maybe Brian Cashman and Jay Spanton are listening and saying, I want to hear the details about this. You have to go search for it. The average person who's a Yankees fan that goes to YouTube, they're not trying to see any of these prospect of players that are going to be here 4 or 5 years from now and what that could look like. I promise you, the algorithm is just not dealing with it. But I want to get Jake to Doval. I cannot wait any longer. I want to get serious about him because more times than not, when I talk to people about Doval, they'll message me. My DMs are flooded. Doval sucks. Ship Doval to the sun. Strap him to a rocket. Send him off. And we're obviously like making light of how bad it really is. I just want to get serious about my response to what it is we're watching with the Yankees. Yeah. Camilo Doval was an all-star in 2023. And people are like, why is he getting to this? I'm trying to explain how unimportant that really is. Because my answer to being an all-star, I know where you are about all-stars. You made an all-star team. You had a good first half of the season. And it's commendable. But Jake, Joe Mantiply was an all-star in 2022. Do we want him?
No.
No,
thank
you. Jake,
you.
How about Mitch Keller? Remember we heard some rumors last year, some rumblings that the Yankees could potentially make a move for Mitch Keller. What did you and I say?
Hell no.
Hell no.
Remember what they were asking for? No.
What they were asking for, who he is, he's just an arm.
He's a guy.
Jose Quintana of today. He's just a 4.30 ERA guy. And you could easily say, well, he was at the All-Star game the same year that Camilo Doval was an All-Star. Just gave up a 7 spot May 30th to freaking Minnesota. No one here in our comments, not one of you has ever said, let's go deal for him. Well, why? He's not giving them output right now. Isn't that what's important? Oh, no. He was an all-star in 2023. Guys, just because you're an all-star at the big league level isn't an exemption to our hearts forever. This isn't golf. For those of you who watch golf, they call these exemptions where you go play in the Masters. If you win the Masters once, you're allowed to go play in the tournament forever. You just get to play. This isn't golf. It's not that. And when you're being honest about what's happening here, what's at work, Jake, Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone have to evaluate not about the past, who's going to perform now and in the near future. His ERA in 2026 is 6.04. 6.04. Somehow he throws 103 miles an hour with sink on the ball, by the way, 103 mile an hour sinker we saw today. He doesn't strike out a hitter an inning. Doesn't even reach that feat. Jake, in all seriousness, it doesn't matter what he did with San Francisco. What matters is what he does here. The exact same way that Yankees fans said they didn't care what Devin Williams does. They didn't care what he did in Milwaukee. What does that matter? It matters what you did here in New York. And now the Mets are learning the hard way. Oh, wait a minute. This isn't Milwaukee. Newsflash. It's a different year. So I say all that to say this, Jake. We need to figure out who can give us output today and tomorrow, not who did what last week, None of that matters. And I feel like the Yankees are just diving into the past, trying to figure out solutions for today. Huge problem with our bullpen. It's not good.
Yeah, no, today wasn't great. Rosario had an error, wasn't great at the plate. Schlittler wasn't himself. But here's the thing. Rosario's had his moments, right?
Yeah.
Schlittler is arguably the best pitcher in baseball, right?
That's right.
I mean, he gave up 4 runs today, and his ERA is now 1.89. What are we doing? So the reason I bring that up is, when was the last big Doval moment? That save. You could argue that save with like his big crowning moment, and he looked kind of shaky in that sense.
What save?
His only save of the season. When
I don't even remember it.
There you go. So my point being is, Schlittler can have a day off. He's just not the same guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rosario can make an error in the field. He's good at the plate. He can go 0 for 4. He's going to come back next day or whenever he plays, and he's going to hit well. Volpe can even have an off day because Volpe has been contributing to this team. But right now, I'm not seeing a contribution from Doval. I'm seeing a 6 ERA. That's what I'm seeing.
Oh, do you like the effort,
ERA.
by the way, where he gives up the knock and he just roaming around aimlessly? It looked like, you ever been to a golf course, and you probably haven't seen this, but here in Arizona, we have a bunch of geese just all over the golf course. And every once in a while, you'll go out there with someone new who can't get the ball off the ground or just off the deck, and they'll hit a line drive and hit one of these geese right in the head. And they're very easily concussed, and they're going to die out there on the course. That's what Doval looked like today. Just lazy, not knowing where he is, not paying attention to any details whatsoever. Even the broadcast says he's just aimlessly walking around. How many pitchers in the game pitch to an ERA north of 6 who aren't paying attention to what's going on the field? If you have an ERA of 6, you better be a student of the game. And Doval is lazy and not performing. I don't even see a single angle other than the radar gun for why he's on the roster. Does anyone else have a reason?
No.
Or the
no,
2023 All-Star game? Is there a reason that we need to search for? Because if there is, this is a serious invitation to drop that in the comment section, because I need to know what's the reasoning behind Brian Cashman making this choice of putting him in the bullpen. Because now that he's here, Jake, that's not Boone's call. That's Brian Cashman saying, make this work with this player. That doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't check out.
No, he's not a good pitcher. He might have raw talent, but I don't care how fast you're throwing it. If you're giving up 3 runs, think about it, giving up 3 runs as a reliever is insane. On the flip side of that, Brent Hedrick today was insane. He came in with the bases loaded and got 2 straight outs. Gary, you and I were not sure they were going to get out of that inning, but that's actually what makes today really frustrating. They get out of that, Tim Hill gets blown up. Doval gets blown up. It's like Hedrick is struggling. He comes in with the bases loaded and only 1 out and gets out of a jam. He had 4 strikeouts, Gary, and he pitched an inning and 2/3. Almost makes you wonder why they didn't just keep him pitching at that point. He was unstoppable today. But we don't know if he has the stamina to go to that. That's not my point. My point is that today really made Doval stick out like a sore thumb. Like, to the point where there's not really any return from this. And guess what, Gary? That leads us into our next topic here, because it kind of coincides with this. I mean, I mentioned Giovanni Cruz, and he had 3 strikeouts, and the Giovanni Cruz special. You ever go to a restaurant and you have your kind of go-to like food item? Yeah, Giovanni Cruz's go-to game is 1 inning, 3 strikeouts, no hits, no runs. That's what he does. For whatever reason, that's not good enough for the Yankees to have him in the minor league, in the major leagues right now. But that said, Giovanni Cruz is on the outside looking in. He's waiting. Also, we got news today, and I don't think it's a surprise. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I'm not going to say I disagree with it. It's just not what I would personally do. Carlos Lagrange is being taken out of the AAA rotation. He is headed to the AAA bullpen and is being developed to essentially be in the bullpen for the New York Yankees. So we could very well see one of their top prospects, arguably their best prospect outside of Lombard, and maybe some people would say he's more valuable. We could see him very soon. And honestly, Gary, these right here between Lagrange, Cruz, De Los Santos, there's a lot of leverage here as to why Doval shouldn't be on this team. Just like there's a lot of leverage for why Jake Bird shouldn't be on this team. There's too many options now. 3 options, Gary, is a lot of options. There's no way these guys are going to survive. And I know the Yankees have like doubled down on their mistakes in the past. They've gotten better, I think, with that as of late. They're not doubling down on Doval. I don't see him lasting. He's not going to last past the trade deadline, but I think he might be DFA'd even before that.
Let's sure hope not. The trade deadline's later than it's ever been.
I know it's August 3rd.
So we've never seen that before. And obviously we're going to have a ton of interviews. We're going to be talking the trade deadline on our show. But why does it need to last several more months? I mean, does anyone need to watch? Haven't we seen everything we needed to see? It's not like Doval has infrequent opportunity. We pitch him all the time. He pitches a lot. Matter of fact, when we started the season, Jake, who was their setup man? Camilo Doval.
Yeah.
Their setup man.
I really thought he was going to take another step.
Right. And by the way, I do see in our comment section, and I want to throw this up on screen real quick here. Camilo Doval makes $6 million. That's an untradeable asset. Untradeable. He's more untradeable than Ryan McMahon. As much as everyone talks about Ryan McMahon and Austin Wells and Anthony Volpe, right? Players that are frequently criticized. And I get why they're criticized. I get it. Trent Grisham, same deal. There's still a solid part of each of those players' game. Volpe hits lefties. Trent Grisham hits homers and walks a lot, right? It's not big and sexy, but they at least have a strength of their game. Camilo Doval doesn't have a strength other than throwing hard. And if that's going to be the strength of your game, go to Driveline. And by all means, I'm not here to make fun of Driveline, but that's not baseball. That's training to try and elevate your baseball game. That's not X's and O's and hitting corners and location. They don't teach that over there. Wait, hold on. What'd you say?
I didn't even know what that was. I was like,
oh, Driveline?
Yeah.
Driveline's a program where they essentially try to get more out of less, where you might not be using your body as efficiently, right? Like just strength training, understanding your body. So instead of throwing maybe 93, you can throw 96, 97. And obviously a lot of old school guys hate this idea because they think, oh no, you can just outlocate, right? And out all the movement, you need to lean on that as opposed to trying to push your body. But you see in the game today, everyone's throwing 102. It's not necessarily Driveline, but they're definitely somewhat of a catalyst for it.
Interesting.
So, but
By
yeah,
the way,
like top velocity doesn't mean you're good.
Want to give a shout out to our new member, Scott Ross.
Welcome in, Scott.
Scott Ross is now a member of the Patreon.
Appreciate it, Scott. And yeah, we're looking forward to the content. We get to get more into detail. Wait, Jake, you said we were moving on to a new topic. What topic was that?
Oh, Lagrange.
Okay, so I want people to realize though about Lagrange real quick is that you wanted him to stay a starting pitcher because you feel like it was the way to maximize his personal value, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
But having said that, this is a page out of the Mason Miller playbook. He was somewhat moved because of injury risk, so it's not the exact same thing. But as far as team needs go, the Yankees are doing something with an asset that strictly fits their team need and isn't about his value. Look at Michael King. Michael King very easily could have just been a starting pitcher for the Yankees. They're like, oh, we're just going to throw him out there in the bullpen. He's going to throw multi-inning. The San Diego Padres receive, and they're like, oh no, he's a starter full time. They made that decision, and obviously his value increased tenfold after he did that. So Jake, what do you think about Lagrange? We were talking about whether or not they would make this decision. Clearly it's at least opening up the gate for him to be called up. There's not any room for him on the roster as a starter. Are you happy about this? I am, just because the bullpen's that bad that I'm willing to take someone out of position in order to get him here. How do you feel?
I'm just going to go with that. I don't love it, but like the bullpen is that bad. Like, and I don't think the bullpen's that bad. I just think there's some guys that are culprits of like the constant, like Jake Bird should be nowhere near an MLB bullpen. I don't even
No, let
want
alone
him.
ours. He's just shouldn't be anywhere.
I don't want it. I don't want to see him as an assistant. I don't want to see him as like the catcher. I don't want him
It's
anywhere
Savannah
near
Bananas.
the bullpen.
He can go over there.
Yeah. And then Doval, at least like the thing with Doval is I still feel like he's going to leave the Yankees and probably have some success somewhere. That's fine. It's just not working with the Yankees.
Who cares?
Because it's like you can't be like, oh, he's going to figure it out. Well, Gary, we're almost at July. We're a month away. And they got him at like the end of July, but still, we're almost the entire year since they acquired him. I mean, if it doesn't get better soon, I mean, if not now, when? You know, and you don't want to be the guy who's just holding the stock that just continues to plummet. No, guys, I'm going to hold on to it. It's going to go up. And then all of a sudden they do, what do they do? A split, a reverse stock split, and then you're just screwed. Yeah, you're left holding the bag.
Anytime you see someone tweeting diamond hands, I'm like, oh, that guy's going broke.
Yeah, no, Camilo Doval is literally you're holding onto a stock that just did a reverse stock split. That's it's just going down. Because now, Gary, he was enough of a valuable asset where you had to trade a hot catcher in your system who was hitting over 300, really good hitting catcher,
yes,
and was a good defender as well, or a decent defender. You had to trade him away to get him. Now, Doval is almost untradeable, if even. I mean, he might actually be untradeable at this point. But here's
how long
the thing.
does Doval stay here, by the way? You mentioned that the break, like when you're talking about the All-Star break, or maybe not the All-Star break, but the trade deadline, you were saying, well, hopefully he doesn't last till then. I think Doval actually might be gone here over the next 10 days, to be quite honest with you.
I think so, too. I mean, the
I think
ERA
it's that
is
imminent.
now over 6.
Yeah.
And we could get into our Sierras and all of that, but ERA still matters, and teams still view ERA as an important stat. And his ERA sucks. It's over 6.
What does Sierra say, by the way?
I don't even know. I don't care what Sierra has
If
to
Sierra
say.
says anything good, you can just go ahead and wipe your tushy
Yeah.
with Sierra.
Wipe your
Sierra,
tissue. That is
Ashley,
something else.
Yolanda, I don't care who it is.
Yolanda.
It's not a good stat. We'll get to some of our supers here, and then we'll get back to it. So Slim, thank you for the 5. Says the New York Yankees. Oh wow, we're going down. We're going to rain clouds over us already. Says the Yankees are a fraud team until they beat good teams with winning records. Did the Yankees mess with the team chemistry by not keeping Caballero at shortstop?
I don't
Jake,
know about that.
What are your thoughts on that? I think that's maybe a little nitpicky. Do I feel like it was the right decision to take Caballero off a shortstop and put Volpe there? Hell no. It's a terrible decision. Objectively speaking, it's not a good decision.
It makes
But
their
to-
lineup better, though.
It makes their lineup
especially
better.
if Judge is
Yes.
out.
Mhm.
They like, what are you going to do? Put Schumann out there? You know what I mean? Like, it does make their lineup better.
Technically speaking, the best thing the Yankees could do for their lineup is have Jazz play third base,
Mm-hmm.
have Volpe play second base, and Jose Caballero play shortstop.
That would be
And
the
now
best
in a
thing.
situation in an emergency because of injuries, now Rosario floats out to left field, Cody Bellinger moves to center, or right, that you start figuring it out that way. But they're not really working that direction. They're kind of just like Volpe, you're the shortstop, and everybody else starts scrambling around there. I don't think Volpe's at that level. So Slim, I'm not going to go as far as say that. I don't
Yeah.
think it's the
don't-
right decision, but I don't think it's that.
And the above 500 thing, the Yankees didn't look that much different than how they've looked in games that they've won this year. So I just don't put any stock into that. Like, I really just don't. I mean, Tampa lost 8-0 to the Detroit Tigers. Does Tampa have an issue like beating teams below 500 now? Because they, you know what I mean? Like, it's baseball. I don't put too much stock into one game. I also didn't think that like the Guardians looked that much better. They had a blow up inning. It happens. This was a game they could have won, and the Yankees, by the way, aren't going to win many games when their ace gives up 4 or 5 runs. It's just not going to happen. They don't have
Camp Schlittler was horrendous.
the
in
way
this
that they're
one
built,
outing. He was
Gary.
bad.
And this is the thing. This is the God's honest truth.
Mhm.
You know early
Thank you,
on if
Slim.
the Yankees are going to win a baseball game, because if the starting pitching gets blown up early on, this offense doesn't really respond. And then on
No,
top
not
of
usually.
that, we're talking about a bullpen that, again, I like some of the. I still like Bednar, right? And I really like Tim Hill. You know, I know he's been struggling a little bit. I think he's been a little bit overutilized. And I think that's what
It's an
we've
understatement.
seen. And I like, I like Hedrick, right?
Mhm.
And I like Fernando Cruz, and I like Giovanni Cruz, who's not even in the bullpen. Stupid. But
Doesn't even have a job.
yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. But here's the thing: the reason why I have an issue with their bullpen, because I think they have some really good pieces, but good Lord, you're telling me 3 of your bullpen pitchers consist of Ryan Yarbrough, Jake Bird, and Camilo Doval with his 6 ERA. What are we doing?
Wait, did you see Ryan
serious.
Yarborough's fastball today? It was 86 miles an hour. And I know he's like somewhat of a submariner, like 3/4 guy. Do you realize that Nolan Ryan threw out a ceremonial first pitch when he was like 65, almost 70 years old, and his pitch was 86 miles an hour? It was the same velocity as a big leaguer. And I'm not one of those radar freaks where it's like, you got to be throwing 98. But and I know this is Nolan Ryan, but for an almost 70-year-old man at the time, this first pitch, to be outgunning you from the mound is just despicable. It's not good. And mind you, at this point, he's not at the level. Again, I think the Yankees are in a way hanging on to Yarbrough in the same way that they did before, where he was released. I can't remember who got rid of him. Was it Kansas City or who was that again? Was it Baltimore?
The Blue Jays got rid of him right before.
It was the Blue Jays. I knew it was in division. So the Jays get rid of him, and the Yankees are like, we'll take a flyer on him. The reason we wanted to do that is because he's multi-inning. This makes a lot of sense in garbage time. And then all of a sudden he started outperforming that garbage time label, and the Yankees started actually using him. They even started using him as a starter for 4 or 5 innings. That was really working out for the team. That's history. That's not now. It's nothing to do with now. And Jake, we haven't even seen a resemblance of his former self. There's nothing even really to talk about with some of these guys, because Jake, you just named like 2 or 3 of I'd call it the fat of our bullpen. They're just kind of hovering around the vicinity of it. They're not part of the core. They could be gone tomorrow. Nobody would care.
You know what happens about that?
What's that?
You say you throw some ground beef in the crock pot and you let that fat just sit there overnight. Doesn't look very good, right? It's pretty hard to clean up, right? There you go.
Yeah, it's frustrating. It is frustrating, and I think the Yankees are trying to hang on to wait for the perfect moment for maybe Giovanni Cruz, but Giovanni Cruz has already been here. We've seen what that looks like. LeGrand, we don't know what it looks like, but the one thing I do know, it probably doesn't look worse than Camilo Doval, and we'll obviously get to that. And Ninja, thank you for the 5. He says, I was there. What a night for Rosario. It's actually his first game as a father. Not a great night. Struck out 3 times. But Jake, we've also talked about that he's had some really good performances here in the near past. So you have reason to play him.
Yes.
When we got Doval, people were talking about his cutter, but he only throws sinkers. Is that part of the problem? So, Jake, do you think this is a pitch utilization issue? We can obviously put it up on screen. Highly, highly doubtful it'll be that. Because usually when a player is known for something and then all you're seeing is another pitch, that's usually an indication that something's wrong with that featured pitch, right? Nate Eovaldi, we saw him earlier this year, and we told you the start before he played the Yankees, his 4-seam fastball, teams were hitting over 600 against it. How many 4-seam fastballs did he pitch against the Yankees the next day? 1. He threw 1 4-seam fastball the entire night. So, Jake, do we have any numbers as far as how often Doval's using that cutter as opposed to a sinker?
Yeah, he's using it at a 36% clip to the sinker, which is at a 41% clip. If you notice, his sinker here is in the plus 4 range for run value. So is that his sinker's actually generating good results? 128 batting average. So let's show fewer seasons here because this is a lot.
I really wonder, though, anytime someone shows you a stat and they say, well, he throws his sinker and he gives up this type of batting average. So does it mean the player should just use that pitch more? Or does it mean that the pitches may be successful because he throws it exactly as often as he does? If that makes sense to you, Jake. You don't use it that often, so it's somewhat of a surprise it's on its way.
Yeah.
So should you go the Fernando Cruz route and just simply throw the sinker if that's the only pitch that works?
I mean, that's the pitch he throws the most, and he has a 128 batting average, against it.
So how's his ERA if he has a 128 batting average against his sinker? How's his ERA over 6?
Because his slider is just horrific. It was great last year. We're looking at the top here. Run value is 5. Okay, it's the best pitch he's thrown as a Yankee. A slider in 2025. He had a 200 batting average, but he threw 529 of them. Okay, so understand that.
And what's the run value of that pitch this year?
-5.
So it went from his best pitch to the worst pitch you've seen.
Yeah, it's
So
literally
Ninja,
he's giving up
that's the
Ted
problem.
Williams numbers. 950
It's not
slugging.
the cutter. Oh my God. It's not the cutter. It's not the sinker. It's the slider. And by the way, this is on both Camilo Doval and Matt Blake. Keep in mind, we told everyone Will Warren's four-seam fastball was getting demolished when he first came up to the big leagues. And they said there's not really any reason for it because the spin rate is incredible. It's great. And the Yankees said, we're going to fix that. We have to fix it. His stuff's just too good. The velocity is just too good. And Jake, month by month, as time went on, his four-seam fastball in terms of run value increased every year, month after month after month, until we got to today, where Will Warren's now a solidified arm in our rotation. We no longer have to really worry about him against some of the better teams in the league because that four-seam fastball's improved, thanks to Matt Blake and thanks to Will Warren for putting the work in. Now, when a pitch goes the opposite direction, it goes from his best pitch to his literal worst pitch in the league. How does that occur?
Yeah, it really is interesting. And Ninja is coming back with the 5 here. If Mason Miller, the broccoli, if Mason Miller joins the Yanks, he'll suck in 2 months max. I know everyone loves Blake, but our closing pitchers, relief pitchers always fall quick under him. He's a liability, in my opinion. I'm going to push back on the liability. I think that we've seen Matt Blake is not perfect. Well, guess what? Nobody's perfect. But I think we've seen that there are some guys he just can't seem to figure out. And again, to be fair, there's still pressure pitching in New York that could also be getting to Doval as well. But based on this data, Gary, it almost makes me want to keep him and just tell him, hey, that slider, get rid of it. Like whatever you're doing, it's actually the worst pitch ever. And
he doesn't miss bats anyways, to be perfectly fair.
No,
he's
really
striking
doesn't.
out less than a hitter an inning. So why would you be throwing your cutter or even a four-seam fastball with pitches that are designed to miss bats?
Well, it's weird. He does actually. He has a 44.7% whiff rate on the slider. So he does miss bats, but then it just seems like he continues to throw that slider and tries to use it as his put-away pitch, and that's when he gets into trouble.
Yeah, just like don't throw it.
Yeah, I mean, hard hit percentage is at 58.3. Goodness me.
Yeah, and that's historically great. By the way, Jake, I don't know if you saw this. So Ninja, I completely disagree. Mason Miller is a unicorn in the league. The Yankees haven't acquired a unicorn.
Oh, I forgot about that part. I was so infatuated with Blake. Yeah, no. Mason Miller would work anywhere. I mean, he worked with the A's.
Mason Miller would work with me.
Mason, you know,
brother,
who Mason
I could be
Miller
the pitching coach. I never pitched.
He's Myles Garrett.
Yeah. Hey, so what you're really gonna do? Okay, let me ask you guys this question: did Mariano Rivera need our pitching coach?
No.
Once he was Mariano Rivera, you're talking 01, like we're talking 98, 99, 2000, 2001. Did he really need our pitching coach? Hey, so Mariano, you throw one pitch. I think you should throw that. Yeah.
Myles Garrett unloaded.
Yeah. Like what are we sitting here talking about? You can't be afraid to acquire talent. Like, for example, Jake, if the Yankees could snap their fingers and have Bobby Witt Jr. on the roster, would we actually be sitting here on our podcast talking about our hitting coach possibly disrupting what he does? No, because he's Bobby Witt Jr. Just the same way we don't get on our hitting coach for Aaron Judge's performance. We just don't, because he's an outlier. Has nothing to do with the staff. Aaron Judge isn't being taught anything by our hitting coach. You're going to teach a first ballot Hall of Famer what to do? You're just
No,
there
we
to
all
shoot the breeze and
know
be his friend.
those position coaches are for not just the bottom of the roster, but the middle of the roster. Like they
Correct.
can still help a guy like Austin Wells. They could also hurt a guy like Austin Wells.
Even
They
a
could
guy
still-
like Jazz Chisholm, as good
Yeah,
as
they could help
as good as
Jazz
he was, like
or
they
hurt
could help
Jazz.
Jazz 70% swing. But Aaron Judge, what does our hitting coach and Aaron Judge have anything in common? He's just gonna walk up there and be like, "Hey, man, seeing
Nice
the ball
cuts.
well, huh? Yeah, that's it. I don't have anything to share." Come
Yeah,
on. Oh,
no,
by the way,
it's-
did you see this in our comments? This is hilarious. Ninja, again, thank you for the 5. And
Thank
again,
you,
guys,
Ninja.
make sure you guys subscribe to Yankees Unloaded and like the video is the best way to help support the channel. It is free to do so. Really appreciate when you guys do it. Look at this. We're not going to go on a tangent about it, but Jazz Chisholm went on the Tonight Show hitting 239 with 6 homers. And I did see that he promised a World Series ring. That part didn't bother me because it's like, at least he's projecting confidence. But did I love it? Not really. But I did think it was pretty funny. Jazz is like as underwhelming as it gets in a contract year. And that's what sometimes being a Yankee is. You get to go on the Tonight Show because you've got a clothing line.
Yeah, Jimmy Fallon is a big Yankee fan. I'm sure he was shooting for the stars. It was like, can we get Ben Rice on? They're like, nope. You're gonna have to get
he
Jazz
actually
Chisholm.
likes baseball. He's like, okay, how about
You're
they could
not
have
going to
Doval.
see that very often where players in the middle of a season are going to go on the Tonight Show. That's normally something you do after you win a championship.
Like Jeter did that. I can't remember whose show he went on, but it was like after the World Series. He would usually
After
do
a championship or like during the All-Star break, maybe. Jazz is going to draw a lot of criticism for that. I'm just saying right now. I mean, he drew it from the Guardians announcer. Did you hear him? Did you see that?
No, what did he say?
I don't know how a 239 hitter gets invited onto the Tonight Show.
Well, sometimes being outspoken and trying to have fun at the expense of all seriousness all the time has its perks. You get to go on the Tonight Show when you're not playing good baseball. That's what comes with it. Like I said, it doesn't bother me because I'm already off of Jazz. I don't want him anywhere near the franchise after this year. And some people are going to be like, he hates Jazz. I couldn't give a rat's behind what anyone thinks about my feelings on a player. Those are my opinions, and anyone else is entitled to have their own personal opinions. But him going on the Tonight Show at this point, it's par for the course. Isn't that exactly what you thought would
Guys,
be
I don't
happening?
think Jimmy Fallon's a Red Sox fan. I think Jimmy Fallon did Fever Pitch where he had to play a Red Sox fan, but I don't think he's actually a Red Sox
I don't know
fan.
who he's a fan of, but I mean, does it really surprise you to see Jazz Chisholm? I mean, if you saw him at the Met Gala, you saw him at this, if Jay Leno was still running, do you think it would surprise you to see him on Jay Leno? It wouldn't. This is exactly what Jazz is. He's a baseball player. He's also a fashion mogul. He's going to tell you about everything he loves in music. Everything's going to be his way. I'm going to wear my hat my way. I'm going to wear different pants. I'm going to say what I want in the media. This is what you signed up for. So if you're going to complain about it, you should have been complaining about it the day you got him from Miami. And I started off high with Jazz. And you know this, Jake. And slowly but surely, it started to fade away.
Yeah, like I said, I like Jazz, but the veil has been lifted. Like he's not what I thought. He's definitely a little disappointing because when he first joined the Yankees, I mean, when he got to 162 games, his first 162 games with the Yankees, did you see those numbers? I mean, that's a really freaking good player.
We
What are
talked
his
about
career
those numbers.
numbers now?
It's a good player. Yeah, if you play
gonna
that
look-
way consistently, you can kind of do what you want. You can be the Dennis Rodman of the team. But Dennis Rodman was only allowed to be Dennis Rodman for the Bulls in the 90s because of what he did on the court. I promise you guys, if Dennis Rodman showed up to the court and he wasn't ready to play for half a season, be out of there. Can't deal with this nonsense. He's partying in Las Vegas. And not to say that Jazz is going to the level of Dennis, because he certainly wasn't. But that's kind of what you can get away with at professional level or just in business. We've all worked a job where somebody gets special rules and regulations because maybe a relationship they have, or they're just exceptional at what they do. So you get away with it. Jazz is not exceptional enough for what comes with him.
Jazz is really, because at one point we were talking about like, wow, he's so much better than he was on the Marlins.
Yeah.
Well, here's what we have. Marlins 403 games, Yankees 232. Okay. So
Still got to be better, right?
yeah, so Jazz has a 248 batting average with the Yankees. He had a 246 with the Marlins. Jazz has a 326 on base. He had a 309 with the Marlins. 461 slugging, 440 with the Marlins. That means Jazz has a 788 OPS with the Yankees, and he had a 749 with the Marlins. He's a 763 career OPS guy. Here's the thing. This is a player that, to me, when you saw him, like it's been back-to-back 800 OPS seasons, which he did once the year he was on the cover of the show. My thing is, I wasn't trying to have a player hit 250 and have an 8. I thought he would eclipse in New York, and it looked like I was right early on.
Yeah, it did.
It just honestly goes to show you Jazz is incredibly consistent at being inconsistent. Like he's really, I mean, I'm just being honest. Like his numbers are kind of all over the place, but they're kind of all in the same ballpark as well.
Like he'll give you a 900 ops month, and people will jump in your face and be like, "Now what? Now what do you got to say?" And I'm like, what I have to say is I just watched 60 days in a row of a player with an ops of 563. And then he'll go ice cold again, and people will get mad at you again for holding him accountable and being lazy and not paying attention. Jazz is just incredibly talented. Incredibly. If he wasn't so talented, we wouldn't really care. We'd just be like, get him the hell off the team, and he wouldn't be. Just like Doval tonight, we're not going to talk about Doval again. That would be Jazz. But we've talked about Jazz 3 or 4 times, 5 or 6 different times.
I don't even know how Jazz came up.
I don't either.
And
it came up because someone said something funny about joining the Fallon show. That's what happened.
Oh, yeah.
So blame them. You don't. I was baited in.
So Aaron Judge, we're at the 41-minute mark, and we're totally off schedule. Thanks a lot, Gary. No, I'm kidding.
I think that was, whose fault was that? Oh, it was Go Kinsman. It's on him.
Sounds like Go Kinsman. No, I'm kidding. Aaron Judge, I felt and understand where I'm coming from. I never want injuries to be the case. I felt like this was genuinely good news that we now know Aaron Judge has been dealing with a shoulder.
Scott Ross agrees with you.
Because I was starting to really be worried, and I know you were, and we talked about it, like he's missing, like that. This all makes sense now. Like his swing was late, everything was off. And now it makes sense. And it's not to say that it's a guarantee he's going to come back from this injury and be totally fine with no sort of setback, because that's not necessarily how things work. But the reason why this is good news is now we have an idea as to why. And you go back to Anthony Volpe with the shoulder, and they kept telling us, no. They literally psyoped us about that shoulder for the rest of the season until Volpe himself is like, yeah, I can't play anymore. Like
they made us seem like tin hatters. They're like, no, oh my God, the shoulder. You guys are still talking about that play from months ago. We're like, yeah, that play. He hasn't been the same player since that play.
It's insane. But you know what? Judge hurt his shoulder on that play. I remember it like it was yesterday. He goes up for the fly ball, and he catches it. Didn't rob the home run, but got close to the wall. He went against that, made the catch. Schlittler was on the mound, and I believe it was against the Orioles. And right away, he came up wincing. And the thing about Judge is he just plays through it, and he's okay being sore. A lot of these players, a lot of people don't realize, like NFL players, literally, they can't even sleep after some games. Like, that's just the name of the game. Aaron Judge is used to being a giant mass of person. And when he gets hit by a pitch or whatever, he's sore. But he doesn't care. He's going to play through it. This is one of those instances, Gary, where I think he just played through it. And he played through it to the detriment of the team at that point, because now all of a sudden, he's still so good that like the numbers didn't completely fall off a cliff. But still, if Aaron Judge is an Aaron Judge, it still hurts the team. And I'm just glad. I understand people are like, oh, no, he's going to a specialist. This could be really bad. guys, I really don't think it's going to be really bad. I think this is the immediate thing is Boone. He informed Boone from what it sounds like. Boone was like, all right, we're taking you out of the lineup. We're not going to risk anything. And now, see, this is where I think this is really good about him seeing a specialist, Gary. Because everyone assumes, oh, specialist, oh, he's out for the year. Tommy John. Like, everyone's mind goes to the worst.
I can't wait to hear how this is possibly good.
Here's the good thing about the specialist. Because Boone is the type of guy to take somebody out of the lineup because they oh yeah, I'm banged up, and they're like, oh yeah, we don't want to get you hurt, and then miss the fact that they're already hurt. Like, it's not that like, oh yeah, we're gonna take it easy. There could be something wrong that needs to be fixed, and I feel like Boone's the type of guy that could gloss over that. So
you just want a clean diagnosis.
I want a clean diagnosis. I think things are going to be okay. And I think really at the end of the day, this is the best thing that could happen to Aaron Judge right now because his swing hasn't been the same. His load step's been off. You could see his shoulder. Someone mentioned, by the way, if you watch Aaron Judge swing, he's doing some hitch thing in his right shoulder. Guess where he hurt his shoulder? It was his right shoulder. So it really makes a lot of sense. And I can relate to this because I had somebody hit me with a scooter. One of my neighbors, like one of those Razor scooters, like hit me, and it hurt. I was like, "Ow!" And I like a week after that, like I noticed my swing was off. I felt like when I swung, the ball was going right through my bat. It didn't make any sense. And
so your body essentially was compensating.
Yeah, I had I had a pretty decent bruise on my like my arm, and I didn't even realize it. So like when I was coming through, I was like, oh, like, and then I realized, and then like about a week later after it healed, I was good. But I'm not saying that's 100% what it is, but I feel like now we have at least some sort of idea, some sort of diagnosis is coming, and I don't think it's gonna be like doomsday. And I understand people brace for the worst, and you know why, Gary? It's not because of the nature of baseball. It's not because of Aaron Judge. It's not because of really anything related to the generalization of what's happening. It's because of who it is. It's not the fact that it's Aaron Judge. It's the New York Yankees. And we know how they short play everything. They slow play everything. They short change everything. That's why. Giancarlo Stanton, I didn't think he'd be gone for like half the year. I don't even know, like, oh, he's running now.
Jake, they told us he couldn't open a bag of chips. And then they were like, not only can he open a bag of chips, he's going to play early and often and play well. Then they told us, oh, it's not that bad. It's going to be a week-to-week thing. And then he's just gone forever. Then they tell us Anthony Volpe dove, heard a pop. We're like, heard a pop.
And they kept him in
on that. No. We did all the scanning stuff, and we noticed some scarring, but scarring that we've seen from months and months ago, like preseason physicals. We see all this stuff. Not an issue. We're like, oh, okay, well, great. He gets back out there and was atrocious from there. Meanwhile, Aaron Judge, and I'm really curious, Jake, how much responsibility you put on our staff for this. And I'm not telling you to go one way or the other, because I would assume Judge probably didn't tell the staff how bad this was bothering him. He probably was just playing. You don't have to talk to your coach about everything. Hey, Skip, can you come to my locker? I want to tell you how bad my shoulder's killing me. Unless you're planning on coming out the game, or you're planning on putting your brains together to figure out a plan to get you back to 100%, there's no reason to tell your manager anything. And so there's a lot of players that while they might be banged up, they just play. That happens in sports all the time. And so, Jake, at this point, when you're talking about our training staff, they have 3 jobs. They need to assess the risk. Does this injury, playing through it, can it possibly cause something much worse down the road? They also have to assess replacements. And I think in this spot, Jake, the Yankees have replacements, not to actually replace the output of Aaron Judge, but positionally, they have people that can get out there into the outfield. Jose Caballero, now that Volpe's just playing, he's just playing all the time now. Caballero's free to go out into left field. Cody Bellinger can move out to center field. Trent Grisham's not playing that great of baseball defensively. You can make the argument that Spencer Jones, in the meantime, that if Aaron Judge really needs it, you could talk about an IL stint of 10 days and Spencer Jones could come right back up here. You have some options. Rosario is another option. Yeah, right. So assessing the timeline. And right now, Jake, I agree with you 100%. We want a definitive timeline. Go see the specialist and tell me exactly what it's going to be. Max Fried last year, he was dealing with the blister. Jake, you and I were saying there's something's wrong here. I can't figure out what it is, but something's wrong here. Spin rate's down, and it was down for 3 or 4 weeks. They refused to go get a diagnosis. And then all of a sudden it just came out there and they're like, we need a couple weeks. You need a couple weeks? You needed a couple weeks ago. That's what you needed. Right now, Aaron Judge is going to see somebody who knows what he's doing, that's outside of Boone's office, that's outside of Cashman's office. We're just going to get a definitive answer and then go from there. I agree with you. I'd rather have a decision that's based on actually someone who knows what they're doing as far as the training staff goes than just passing off that responsibility to the Yankees, who've shown us they can't handle that responsibility.
No,
and
absolutely
Yankee Fangirl for life, thank you for the 5, says, is it me or does our infield seem to fall apart once the bullpen comes in? I'm assuming she's talking defensively, that they're not making the plays when our bullpen maybe gets ground balls. Is that what you're taking from this, Jake? Like maybe our defense doesn't play well late in games. Is that the takeaway here? I don't really agree. I don't feel like Volpe's a good shortstop to begin with. And I also, keep in mind, guys, Rosario played third base today. He's not a good defensive third baseman. That just comes with the territory of who he is.
They're kind of built for like contact and ground ball contact that like I could see how this can skew the mind one way or the other. Keep in mind also, you and I, and obviously our viewers, we remember that run that was scored in the first inning of a game that's like bad decision or whatever. Like it's so funny because Yes Network did like this great job of like having the most PR stunt ever for Trent Grisham. They're like, yeah, he's the glove of the game. And he had like a diving catch and then had like a nice play where he tracked down. This is the same game. Trent Grisham jumped aimlessly like a 11-year-old in Little League. Jumped aimlessly into the wall.
Oh, you're talking about on the triple?
Yeah.
He just ran. First of all, he looked like a Wii character. The ball was hit, and he was just like, nothing's important to him. It's no offense to any Gen Zers in here. He's just running after the ball, and he's like, well, if I don't get to this, I'm damn sure not going to work hard and make it seem like I tried. So I'm going to Cadillac it over to the wall, and he just sticks his glove up. Has no chance of the ball, by the way, which isn't a problem whatsoever. Because once you make the decision, I actually have no chance of this baseball. The decision's simple at this point, Jake.
Yeah.
Now off the wall. You're playing the ball off the wall. You don't stand 2 feet from the wall and have the ball kick 90 miles an hour past your chest. You're not going to be able to make a play.
He jumped into the wall, like vertically. I've never even seen that. What was that? He you know what he basically did? He did like the chest bump, like the jumping up in the air. He chest bumped the wall.
Oh, like kind of what Manny Ramirez did, where he caught the ball and high-fived the fan.
Yeah.
There's no reason to be walking around as a Yankee and be this cool. We're not that good. We're not. And this isn't even a Trent Grisham thing. This is an anyone thing. Unless you're hitting 325 and about driving at 100, it's not even about that. You better be Pete Rose out there.
You have no range. The guys that can do that, you know why Robbie Cano made it look so nonchalant? Because he had the range to make it look so nonchalant. He'd do that sliding grab, get up, and just... It was like the most casual thing you've ever seen because he could do it. Trent Grisham has to play in so far that like a normal... that's like a deep fly ball. Do you notice how anytime it hit the center, it's now a triple? Dude, Patrick Bailey's OPS is below 500. And he made that guy look like he's Barry Bonds. Like
he made the center field wall today look like the Polo Grounds. Like he was 600 feet out there.
That was like
it's not that far to center field. I believe it's 408. It's not that far out to center field at Yankee Stadium. Left center maybe it's not as far as in terms of distance, but when you're talking about where that is on the field, it plays deeper than what you expect. That's why left field's so difficult to play at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
But you mean to tell me a ball to dead center field, you're going to go to the wall and say, I can't get to this baseball, which is fine. Again, not a problem. That's on the pitcher. Gave up too hard of contact. But once you make the decision, oh, I actually can't get to this ball, you're going to turn around and just continue running to center field. Nothing good can happen. It was just a boneheaded play that reeked of a lack of effort, a lack of skill, of understanding of the play. And people will get upset at us and be like, what are we picking on Trent Grisham for? Because on this podcast, we don't talk about one-off plays. We hate doing that. We're not going to talk about, like, Rosario looked horrendous today, right? He was not good. He wasn't a good baseball player. Struck out 3 times, played poorly defensively. But we're not going to spend 15 minutes talking about Rosario. Why? Because just 2 weeks ago, we liked what we were seeing. So unless we see a trend, we just won't talk about it. We're not going to talk about everything bad that happens. But Trent Grisham defensively making these type of plays, he's the definition of a trend.
Yeah, no, I'm so over him. But anyway, the reason why I brought that up was because, like, we remember, like, early in the game, like, we'll remember, oh yeah, like that base hit, whatever. Like, not everyone does. They remember the base hit that was given up in crunch time, and I think, like, it kind of creates this idea in the mind that, like, oh my God, because every time you're watching, you know, an error late in the game, obviously it's the bullpen, but, like, I just feel like that's the bullpen generating all that contact on the ground. Because, like, it's also
harder to field. When you say it's harder to do anything late in the game, it's harder to hit, it's harder to field the ball, make throws. Like, there's an element of pressure. Like, Matthew Stafford is your quarterback in LA. People always talk about how important it is in the 2-minute drill. Being able to execute if it doesn't work, your team loses. It fails. It's harder to execute then than it is in the second quarter. I think we all just know that without even having to say much. I think the same goes for our defense. I think the same goes for our offense. It's more difficult to play under pressure. Some guys elevate, but there's a reason we remember David Ortiz. There's a reason we remember Hideki Matsui, Derek Jeter, right? Mr. November. That's for a reason. It's not just because that's who they were all the time. There was an elevation there. And it's not so easy to do that. So, by the way, Jake, she did expand on that. I totally lost it. I pulled a U.
Oh
nice. My gosh.
The Guardians are a good team,
I can never
18 and 13 on the road.
Oh, you know what? Pedro, essentially. I like how there's a pizza for his profile picture. Pedro with the 2 says, yes, the gloves go brittle. Rosario is the lineup Doval. I don't agree with that. You can't tell. You're just like, I know there's seed oils in there.
No, that's not it. It's more so I can't tell if it's good or not. It's not like a...
No, it didn't look like a good pizza from my vantage point.
Yeah, and I'm a pizza connoisseur. Scott Ross, member for 10 months, also Patreon member. Appreciate you. Judge seeing a specialist.
Scott agrees with your point, by the way. I don't know if you heard me earlier. But
yeah, no,
Scott
I did.
is agreeing in the fact that this probably points to, because I don't want to steal this point, that Judge isn't maybe having a regression. He's just hurt. And is age 34 really that old where you could justify a drop off of this level? No. I don't think so. I really don't see that.
I think
it's more of a gradual decline.
Fielding play. That's what I think.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch it, he's wincing when he gets up. That was...
I feel like I've seen him wince on just like 15 different plays.
That's true.
Like anytime he slides, he acts like he just ran into a wall.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I don't know what it feels like. Dude is a defensive lineman playing right field. So it's like...
He is. Did you see him next to OBJ, by the way? Did you see that?
I didn't see that.
He made OBJ. Oh my gosh. Yeah, he looked like an Oompa Loompa next to him.
Dude, Aaron Judge. No, I'm talking about defensive lineman.
He's in Rams mode.
I mean, he's gonna come back.
You did open table. You did the open table today. It's fair.
Yeah.
Or round table, excuse me.
Yeah. I know. Open table.
Open table. That's an app.
You want food.
Yeah.
Pizza and now open table. It's like, what reservation are you trying to get right now?
Open table unloaded.
You're like, steak 44, sign me the hell
don't
up.
tease me with a good time.
Oh man.
Ninja,
Anyway,
thank you for the
appreciate you,
5.
Ninja.
Says go to the San Francisco Giants subreddit and look up Doval's name. I probably won't do that, but
Yeah, don't ever go on Reddit.
yeah,
It's terrible.
Reddit is a waste of time.
Yeah,
Says there's nothing positive about him.
just
yet.
like Reddit.
Wow, look at this name. Actually, I don't think I've ever heard anyone call him Asman. Signed him and tried to make him look like a good move. So to be fair, Ninja, and now mind
Ninja,
you,
are you swearing in a super chat? Oh,
yep.
I don't know about that
His
one.
mother's in here. Wash his mouth out with soap. Subreddit. No one goes to Reddit to tell you anything good. Never. There's never anything good happening on Reddit. Ever.
Dude,
like Jake, the one time you were like, hey, did you know that there's people looking for a Yankee show on Reddit? And I went to the link and these people go, that Gary Sheffield Jr. kid is such an asshole and just a horrible person. But they just got such a great show over there at Yankees Unloaded. I'm like,
thanks for the
hell is
backhanded
subreddit about?
×5 compliment. Like, good
yeah,
Lord.
I'm like, what is
He
the
didn't
point
even like
of this?
Yeah, he's not my favorite, but they got a good show. It's like he's an asshole. He craps in old people's cases of money. Like, no,
Anytime someone writes this
Oh my
person's
God.
awful, but and then they proceed to say something good about him, just know that's that person's biggest fans.
that's jealousy.
Their biggest fans. If you want to know if someone really likes you, see if they say something bad about you before they compliment you. Just
learned this
know
in
they
our
are
Reddit.
very, very jealous.
we learned this in our not Reddit, excuse me, Discord.
Yeah, I still don't know. I still don't know where they went. They were some of our biggest followers here on our YouTube channel, and they went to our Discord, and then we had to pop in and throw a little jab.
And I know
Let 'em know
they
we
were
did see it.
making. Look. I do not care at all. But it's funny because I'll get like Alex Marin in the comment section. I'm sure he's here tonight. He's here all the time. He's one of the best supporters out there. But Double X Alex, friend of ours, he's like sent me like Reddit stuff in the past.
Mm-hmm.
There's an entire thread like, yo, is Jake Ellenbogen a good content creator? And like everyone's like, no, he sucks. He's the worst thing ever. And it's just like the ugliest picture you've ever seen of me. Like I was in my
I don't think I've ever
basement.
seen anyone freeze the YouTube show. Have you ever seen someone like take a picture of you while you're doing content creation? Have you ever had a photogenic moment in your life?
No, and Gary,
Never.
like for whatever reason, anytime somebody takes a picture, mainly Alex, you look like you're about to fall asleep every single
Yeah.
time. You look like you'd rather be anywhere else but here. It's the funniest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know what people thought. Like if they thought when they watched the video, they're like, he doesn't look like he wants to be there. But obviously I do. We're here every day. Slim Lewis, thank you for the 2. Says Doval still on the roster equals Cashman won't admit mistakes. Jake, you and I have short and sweet here. We've noticed they've at least made some strides in the right direction for 2026 in
Yes.
getting rid of players that that's not working. We're going to do this right away instead of letting it drag on for a couple months and just saying it'll revert back to the mean. They've made quicker responses. Having said that, Slim's right here. They're making this decision on Doval, not because they think he's the best person for the job, not because he's throwing 103, because they made a trade for him and they want to tell us in hindsight they were right for hanging on to him. The same way that we wanted Giancarlo Stanton, not all of us, but some of us wanted Giancarlo Stanton off the roster a couple of years ago, and he had a resurgence. And Brian Cashman's like, see, that's why I'm in charge. And sometimes you're right, and a lot of times he's wrong. Slim, this is one of those moments.
They're at the
wrong.
roulette table running out of money, and they're just like, it's bound to land on something at some point. And it's just like, I once was at a blackjack table, and this guy's like, I don't know if I'm even going to be able to pay my mortgage if I do this, so I'm all in. And I was just like,
Or they'll tell you it's due.
oh,
Hey,
yeah,
man,
that too.
He hasn't bust in 10 hands. It's
I'm
due.
due.
I'm due.
And
No.
then you just watch this dude get taken to the cleaners.
Yeah,
Like literally,
I've never seen anybody tell me that because of the odds, because it's gone a certain way, it's going to continue to go the certain way. That person never,
That's
they never
Cashman,
make
though.
money.
Is it not Cashman? He keeps hitting and losing money, and he's like, "Oh, I'm due." Like it's gonna, like that's what he's doing with Doval. Just cut your losses. You were so quick to move off of Devin Williams. You were like, "I'm not paying him." You made it a point. Devin Williams wanted to come back, and you're like, "Oh yeah, we're not interested in him." Like almost like laughably, right?
And Devin Williams is still mad about that because he'll tell you he's not, but he's still posting on Instagram going, "There's so many angry Yankees fans in my DMs." First of all, it's probably 6 of them. That's one.
Yeah.
And 2,
I still like Devin Williams.
yeah, you like Devin Williams. I mean, that's probably the end of it for this podcast as far as who liked him. But like the point is you discussed how he finished the season. That was what was important to you. How do you finish? He finished well. It wasn't the Devin Williams we wanted, but it wasn't the total meatball that we got at the beginning of the season. And Brian Cashman, thank you for the 5, says no one in the organization wants to admit it, but LaGrange is going to be our closer. Bednar and Doval are both free agents after this season. And of course, Jake, and we're going to get to it, the fact that I want Mason Miller as the Yankees closer and not LaGrange, not David Bednar, not anyone else in the organization. But we're going to get to that here in a second. Why would you think, Jake? Because I don't really agree with this. Not to say that I disagree with Brian that he'll be the closer, but David Bednar and Doval, what sense does it make for the Yankees to just be like, LaGrange's our closer and sending that message publicly? How does that help the confidence of David Bednar? How does it help Doval by making that vocal? Does that make sense? I don't really see a point in projecting that LaGrange went from a starter to a reliever who's presumed to be getting called up here pretty soon. And then now they're supposed to tell us, oh, he's going to be our closer. The guy that we pay millions of dollars in David Bednar and Doval, they're not good enough. That guy will be the closer.
I mean, I don't know. I think I will say this. The closer is in AAA, but it is not LaGrange. It is Giovanni Cruz. I stand by that. They will eventually get to that point. Might not be this year, but he is the closer of the future for the Yankees. I feel confident in saying that. But as far as, that, like, I don't think that bothers Bednar. But Doval, yeah, that absolutely puts some strain on him. But then again, these guys are probably so locked in, or maybe not even locked in, that they don't even notice, like, LaGrange being added to the bullpen in AAA. They probably don't even know what's going on, really.
Doval doesn't even know that a runner is being scored on a base hit with
That's
multiple
true.
runners on base, and he just stood out there on the mound going,
You ever see when a player joins a team, they sound like even though they're in the league, they sound like this dude that has been tuned out of the sport for 8 years and then just got back into it, and they're like, yeah, I have a lot of respect for the Spurs. They've been really good over the years. Wembenyama, I think is his name. Yeah,
they make it seem like they were just on tour.
It's like, do you really like? I don't even buy it. It feels like performative almost. But
I think
let's say it's not. The point being, I don't know if these guys care that much. Like I don't think they're that invested in what's going on outside of like AAA. I don't think. See, when Volpe was sent to AAA, now he sees George Lombard Jr. That was my point. Now the pressure's on. Oh, I've actually seen, because it's not hard when you're on a team and you see a guy's clearly better than you to see this guy's clearly better than you.
You see him every day. You might even play catch with the guy. This guy, you can tell like what's going on. Like same with Doval. When you look at our roster and you see what's going on with Cruz, right? You're talking Fernando Cruz, and then you see what's going on. Doval can look up and go, oh, the writing's kind of on the wall that this guy might take my job. That guy might take my job.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what's going on with LaGrange. He just doesn't know. He doesn't know that he was just moved to the bullpen. Camilo Doval doesn't know that. Unless he's sitting there scrolling Twitter like us, which I highly doubt. He just doesn't know because he's worried about the job at hand for him. And like I said, when you're struggling in New York, it's probably hard to pay attention to all the details going on around the scenes. But I don't know, when you're playing well, it's probably a lot more fun to figure out what's going on at all the levels. But you have to imagine he's not having very much fun.
No, I don't think he is having very much fun. But you know what? It's kind of unfortunately, that's the way it is.
What do you say? It's hashtag not good.
Hashtag not good. It's also hashtag
It's not what you want.
So there you go. It's not what you want.
It is not what you want. And Yankee Fangirl for Life is back with the 5. Thank you for all the support. Says it's clear that Boone has a bullpen plan regardless of how the game is actually going, and it's more consistent than his daily lineups. Just ridiculous. So Jake, you said this is a good point. I agree. What is it about the consistency or lack thereof of how the bullpen's used? What bothers you about the utilization of this group?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of all over the place. I mean, how many times have we seen like Fernando Cruz come in the 6th inning and then all of a sudden, yeah, I guess we're rolling with Fernando Cruz in the 8th inning, right? Or yeah, it's just like guys are used all over the place. And yet it doesn't seem like there's a tier system. It doesn't seem like, okay, there's an 8th inning guy. Like all we know is Bednar's the closer. And
is there any system whatsoever? Like, do you?
Yes, I figured out their system is entirely based on their bullpen budget. That's their system.
That's their order, and how they do it is based on that budget?
It feels that way. It definitely feels that way. It's felt that way for a while. Because here's the thing. When you listen to Aaron Boone in his pressers, which I'll admit I haven't watched many of those pressers lately. They're very boring. But what he will tell you is, yeah, like people will be like, why didn't you go to this guy against the lefty? And he'll be like, yeah, you know, we're trying to kind of avoid using him today and use him tomorrow.
That's exactly what they say.
He says that all the time.
All the time. He says it all the time. Yeah,
there you go. That's the plan. It's keep guys fresh, not too fresh, but also try not to overwork them.
Oh, he hasn't worked in a while. You got to give him some work. I'm like, so are you actually looking at the bullpen and saying, we're up 1 in the 7th inning? Who's the guy I want to go to in this spot? Is that the question you're asking? Or are you saying who's due to pitch in the 7th?
That's what I'm saying, brother.
That is a different question. It's going to yield you different answers.
But Gary,
who's due to pitch and who do you want?
Like anything, any topic, any situation in life, there are blind spots. Everyone has a blind spot. You can't drive a car without a blind spot, right? Feels weird, but you have a blind spot. So here's the thing. Aaron Boone, just like anybody, will still have a blind spot. This is why managing this way is wrong. Because either way, you're going to overwork somebody. You don't know who it is because it's going to happen without you realizing it. You're going to think you have everything
it's fluid
to a T.
based on right.
But you were going to overwork somebody. And you know what it was? It was Hedrick to start off the season. Now I believe it's Tim Hill. And I think these guys suffer because of it. Because understand this. You take the innings limit, right? Or you take the innings and you're like, oh, he's only pitched 40 innings. That's not overwork. Yeah, but look at how much he's pitched in a certain time span. And then it really kind of contextualizes why the guy is overworked. We're not talking about over the course of the season. These guys throw way more than those pitches. It's overworked in a certain allotted amount of time.
Like David Bednar earlier this season, to your point, was overworked at one point.
Yes.
Tim Hill at one point. Hedrick was overworked at one point.
Do you remember when
today?
So when Hedrick started like struggling, wasn't that right after we said, hey, he's a little overworked? Like they use him a lot.
Everyone in our audience, even when he was pitching well, they're like, Hedrick again?
Yeah.
Well, he's pitching well, so maybe he's going to be our multi-inning guy. It's like, no.
He always forgets one guy.
Who?
No, just in general. There's always that one guy. Like it might
usually.
Be 1 week it's Hedrick and he goes 3 or 4
Cruz will do the exact same thing. They'll just use him as a fireman for like 10 days in a row where he just comes out and pitches 7 of the 10 days. It's crazy.
Then just wait. Cruz will give up a grand slam and everyone will hate him and say they want him off the team. But in reality, if you look, Cruz is really freaking good and he just was overused. Like that's what's going to happen. It's like a common, it's so consistent. It's actually kind of ridiculous.
This is a great super chat because
it's fantastic.
What it says is that they don't have a plan that starts before the game where, and mind you, plans should change. They should be on their feet. But I promise you guys, as a podcaster of this team, we're not magicians here. We're We don't know all the tricks. Jake and I have been covering this team and doing a podcast every single day, and we can't even notice a trend with how the relievers are used. Covering the team every day, you should be able to. You should be able to say, okay, Gordon's coming out in the 8th. Rivera's coming out in the 9th. In the 7th, maybe Proctor might come in, but it also could be this guy. And you just sort of know it's going to be this guy or it's going to be that guy, and you go one of two directions. The Yankees will literally just go into the 6th inning up 6, and you're like, here's Cedric. And you're like, didn't he just pitch at crunch time 2 days ago? This is odd. He pitches again. And then all of a sudden, when the game's just out of hand, here comes Yarborough. And then all of a sudden, you'll sit in a situation where someone gets shelled and they come out and the offense will respond. It's 4-4 in the 2nd inning. Out comes Cruz. What? But then, Jake, when you pull up that chart that says who's pitched when and where, how, a whole chart to tell us who's fresh. The Yankees pretty much say he pitched yesterday. He didn't pitch yesterday or the day before. That means that guy's pitching. That's what it means. The Yankees essentially have just come up with an entire umbrella of righties and lefties that they just say, if you didn't pitch yesterday or the day before, you're bound to pitch today. It's not the best way to utilize your bullpen. So really appreciate that super chat. Really thought-provoking.
By
Jake,
the way,
do you want to talk about our oh, what's up?
Yeah, real quick before we move on to that. So do you remember back in the day, it was like, I mean, it was part of your dad's team, I'm pretty sure. Like you had like Paul Quantrill, and you had like, I think Scott Proctor was on that team, and Kyle Farnsworth and Tom Gordon, all those guys, right? Tanyan Sturts, whatever. Do you remember how they used the bullpen back in the day? It wasn't like the way they do now. You know?
Are you talking about just having designated roles where you pitch a certain inning?
Yeah, it was basically, this is how it went down. And obviously I could be getting them mixed up in certain years, but the point stands. 7 innings out of Mike Mussina. Then you have, if he goes 7 innings, then you have 8th inning Tom Gordon, 9th inning Mariano Rivera, right? That's fair to say. What if Mussina gets destroyed? Well, now Paul Quantrill's pitching. You know, now they might go to Tanyan Sturts, somebody like that. The entire point of this is that there was a plan of attack, and it's so funny. These guys would pitch way more than they do now, right? But they would pitch more in like their role. So it ended up it was like maximizing their value.
It wasn't considered
overused over an allotted short amount of time. And it's like, if you get overused and get burned out, it's hard to get back on that train. Some guys never do. You could ruin somebody if you pitch them too early on. It's not about the over. People focus way too much on the round number, the overall. He threw this many pitches this year. Or he pitched this many innings. That works with starters. I don't really lean into that as much with bullpen. And I just think now, Gary, the way they use bullpen, they're obsessed with this whole, well, we got to have this guy going up against lefties and this guy going up against righties. And it's stupid because look at how careless they are with the bullpen. Look at how many times, Gary, somebody's pitched 1/3 of an inning, or they've pitched 2/3 of an inning, or a guy that was really just dominated didn't come back out for a second inning. He only had 9 pitches. Why didn't he come back out for a second inning? Right? But then you'll see, a guy throwing 38 pitches, and like it seems like that's when they leave him in there. It's so bizarre the way that they run this team, and just not just the Yankees. It's the way it is about the pen today. The way teams use the bullpen, you can just tell there's no feel anymore. It's all about analytics. And they went over this as like some sort of script. I'm not saying the game's scripted, but I'm saying they went over it as some sort of script before the game. Like, hey, if this happens, we're going to go with this guy. I actually never felt like baseball should ever be managed that way.
Cleveland did this with Miller. And we've talked about this pitcher before on this show. A lot of times in the past, they'd say, well, Mariano's my 9th inning guy. Gordon's my 8th inning guy. It doesn't matter that Miguel Cabrera is due up, or it doesn't matter that David Ortiz and Manny Ramirez are due up in the 7th. we're pitching our 7th inning guy. That's what we're doing. And the way that the game's set up today, not that Bednar maybe will, but the Yankees are more susceptible to saying, okay, who's due up in the 8th? Okay, it's Manny Ramirez, David Ortiz, right? Or it's the top of the lineup. You might see Damon. They're going to go Bednar and try to go multi-out and try to play it fluid and then use him because they think he's fresh. But what ends up happening is he ends up throwing 45 pitches. He's overworked. And then he might get through the game. He might win that game. The problem is there's lasting effect to it. And they just look at it as he pitched that day. Tomorrow he won't because he threw 45 pitches, but then the following day he's ready to go. You'd much rather just leave Bednar where he is in the 9th inning and let the designated 8th and 7th inning guys work. That's just not the way that the game's managed now. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this new way just doesn't work in the short term, because I think that there's absolutely a case to be made that it does. Playing it more fluid, just using who you need in the meantime. The problem is the long term. There's just no lasting effect. If you look at the Yankees in the past, their bullpen tends to struggle in October. It's not that we've typically over the years have had bad bullpens. I don't think that's the case. We've had good pitching coaches. We've had great groups as far as our relievers. And Jake, when you go back to our years as a super bullpen, that super bullpen actually struggled in October. Is it just because they weren't cracked out for New York or for October? I don't think so. They were just overused because we just played everything so fluid. So yeah, I think it's a good point to at least talk about that the Yankees maybe need to get more so back to designated roles and putting guys, having good enough players, maybe 6 through 9 in terms of innings where you trust that guy in that one role. And Jake, last thing I'll say about this, you said with Clay Holmes, we started looking up the splits. We're like, oh, Clay's horrendous in the 9th inning. He's just not good. But he's really good in the 7th inning. In the 6th inning, he's really good. He said, why don't you just pitch him in that inning only? And then they did, and he started pitching better. Yeah. Sometimes it's not rocket science. You just need to give someone the role that they excel in. Anthony Volpe is probably a perfect case of that. He only plays for the most part against left-handed pitching. And of course, Jake, he's now suddenly playing well. So sometimes it's just a little bit more simple than what people give it credit for. But Jake, I want to get into our trade topic of the week, of the night.
Oh, you want to get into watching
my favorite player ever?
Your favorite player? You put in his numbers up on here and gawking at his red lines?
I would enjoy it. So, again, we've talked incredibly realistic pickups. We've also talked about some middle tier guys. Some guys that, like we talked, Otto Lopez. We've talked about some guys just floating there somewhere in the middle. And now here we are. And there's going to be people who watch this episode and go, Mason Miller, why would you think you're getting Mason Miller? And yet, nowhere on the podcast does it say we think we're getting this player. We're telling you who's potentially on the move. Again, Mason Miller is the best reliever in the game. Converted starting pitcher, moved out to the bullpen due to really injury risk, not for the same reason that LeGrand is being moved. He was moved, and you look up at the Ks per 9. I mean, he struck out almost 50 guys in 25 innings of work. He's as good as it gets. This is a level that you just don't see reach, and he would be moved for the same reason that Juan Soto was moved. Padres didn't want to get rid of Juan Soto. For what would you want to do that for? He's young. He hits a ton of homers. He has great plate discipline. Yeah, he's going to play below average defense, but who cares? The Padres are playing horrendous. This trade, if it were made available, wouldn't be made available because the Padres want to get rid of this player. It would be made because the rest of the roster isn't in shape to take Miller and this team where they need to go. Jake, thoughts on this player? Because if you look at Baseball Savant only, and you're one of those people who you need to see the pitching run value, you need to see the expected ERA, you need to see the chase rate, it's just going to be all red because this is the cream of the crop. This is as good as it gets. And for people saying that Matt Blake doesn't know how to work with certain guys don't have the pitch mix that he needs, this is one of those player upper echelon that doesn't need your coaching. He's one of the plug and play guys, very similar to Myles Garrett, Jake, where you can send him to the Rams and you can talk all you want to about assistant coaches and this guy and that guy, and this guy will get in his ear And this coordinator, you don't need a coordinator to tell Myles Garrett to get after the quarterback. Just like you don't need a pitching coach to tell Mason Miller how to throw 104 on the corner with a devastating slider. Jake, if the Yankees could get Mason Miller, this is a player who's young. He's 27 years old, flamethrower, in a position to stay healthy and not on the starting mound. What do you feel about Mason Miller potentially being available? Is this a level of player you'd be interested in not selling the farm? Because I know everybody just clenches up when you say sell the farm. Is this a player you would invest heavy capital to bring in the building considering our bullpen?
For a while, I would say no, right? But honestly, if you move Bednar to the 8th inning, you have Mason Miller in the 9th. Think about this, Gary. With how often the Yankees find themselves in these 1 to 2 run games, Mason Miller actually makes more sense than most teams for the New York Yankees. Think how often the Yankees are playing in these like knockdown, drag out games. It's insane. You would never expect that to be the case with the New York Yankees, but they are constantly in not tonight. They're constantly in really close games.
Yeah.
Mason Miller shuts the door. I mean, his numbers show that. What's interesting about Mason Miller is they avoided arbitration, but they're still going to have to figure it out. He's going to have arbitration 3 more years. He's a free agent in 2030. Mason Miller's going to want a contract. He's not going to be okay with arbitration.
No.
I mean, he's almost 28 years old.
No, by the way, this is coming from a franchise that has frequently traded players, and they've been doing this since the 90s, by the way. They've been doing this for a long time, and they say, well, we've got the Padres have one of the best fan bases in the game. If not, like, they honestly are way up there. Tuesday night, sold out. Day game, sold out. Everything's sold out. The entire town's about the Padres, and yet Mason Miller hasn't even been offered a contract.
Can I ask you something hypothetical? It'd be a crazy trade. You'd never expect this.
Yeah.
What if hypothetically the Padres want a player on the Yankees? Okay. Because they believe we can still compete, but we're just going to get the max value that we can for Mason Miller because we don't want to pay him upwards, $300 million or whatever he wants.
Right.
What if they instead wanted a starting pitcher and they asked for Max Fried and prospects? Would you do like Max Fried and George Lombard Jr.? Because understand this, Max Fried is technically part of this team, but is that kind of similar to like a Verse and Garrett that you were just talking about?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. It also kind of boils down to how high are you on Max Fried. In the regular season, I'm as high as on Max Fried as anyone is. Anybody. But in the postseason, it's a different conversation. He's arguably one of the worst pitchers in postseason baseball. I mean, we saw it last year. We've seen it in Atlanta. Now, mind you, again, and I see my mom in the comments. She's like, we're not trading Mason Miller. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. You are trading these players. That's how that works.
That's what they do. That's
what they do.
That's how they operate.
That's how this works. There's been better players that have played for not just all these organizations. There's been better players that played for this organization. And people say what they want of, oh, we're getting a new owner. We got new blood in here. What do you think that owner's here to do? They know what the business model is. And when they come in, they want to see what's coming inbound, what's going outbound. And they need to see what that math looks like. Now, unless you look up and say, oh, we just got the Dodgers and we have a group. By the way, the Dodgers are owned by a group, right? Not a singular owner. The Dodgers said our business model is going to be that we're spending any amount of money and we're going to go get Shohei Ohtani. We're going to go get these players. There is not one other example of a team operating that way. Not one. And now the Padres are looking up and saying, we've got Xander Bogaerts, we've got Fernando Tatis, we've got Manny Machado making over $30 million a year to play under the Mendoza line. At some point or another, it's not about trading players because you think that player is the problem. It's about staying relevant enough to maintain the fan base. And I'll tell you what, if Tatis doesn't rebound from wherever the hell he is right now, if Manny Machado is just not going to recover from where he is now, the Padres have reason to move their number one asset on the roster in Mason Miller. So yeah, I'm not telling you guys this because I think Mason Miller is being traded this year. I'm telling you this because I believe at some point or another, Mason Miller will be traded from this organization. Whether it's next year or the year after, someone's going to get this player. And that's a shame. But that's the way that their business models run over there. And I'm not the one to get upset with. That is just simply what they do. And more times than not, the only other team in baseball who really says we're not going to lose any one player. I mean, Jake, I think we have a higher track record of retaining talent than San Diego does. So not that they don't spend money, but they don't seem to be spending it in the right places. They're paying Xander Bogaerts $42 million a year. Until he's 42 years old, they're paying him his contract. That is ridiculous. Part of the business model that may end up sending Mason Miller away. So I'm really more so aware of the team and where San Diego is. That's just as important for why the Yankees could potentially get this player. But do I think it's likely? Of course not. I think San Diego is probably just going to throw all their marbles in the center of the table and say, get me to the wild card. We're not winning the division. But if they start to slip and they continue to lose games, this becomes more likely, and not to say I'm rooting against the Padres, but maybe I am.
Yeah. I will say this. I don't know what your thoughts are on Chris Rose, baseball personality. It's been obviously on plenty of shows and what have you, MLB Network. He actually predicted that the Yankees will trade for Mason Miller this trade deadline.
That's interesting because do you think that San Diego's playing? Because San Diego's playing atrocious baseball right now. They're still over 500, and you don't have to play that great of baseball to make it into the wild card today.
They've lost 7 of the last 10.
Yeah, they've lost a lot, but this also happens to everyone but the Dodgers for the most part. Is they just lose? I mean, if you looked at the Yankees last June and July, you'd think we were the worst team in baseball. It's just a fact. San Diego, it just so happens to be dealing with one of those struggles.
He actually had a deal together. He didn't just apparently he didn't just put it together. He actually had a deal, or maybe it wasn't him. I see something here. Will Warren, Jason Dominguez, Spencer Jones, and George Lombard Jr. Do you do that?
Will Warren, Spencer Jones, and who?
Jason Dominguez and George Lombard Jr. I think that's a little too much.
Oh, for Mason Miller?
You still have to pay Mason Miller. Are you okay giving up all that?
Like, I have to pay Mason Miller today or 4 years from now?
Well, I think the whole reason that they would trade Mason Miller, if they did, would be because he wants a deal after this season. Like, you're not going to be able to milk this. You know what I mean? It's going to get ugly.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, guys, I know normally I agree with the room in the chat. Disagree. Like I said, we've covered the bubble guys that everyone says, who cares about this guy? He's not that good. He's a marginal improvement at best. Jake and I covered those players. We also covered the middle tier players, the ones that are actually relatively likely that can get done. More of the Jazz Chisholm type pickup, still a good player, but you got to go out and get them. We talked about those players as well. These are the pipe dreams. And by the way, pipe dreams happen. They do. The Lakers fans have been calling for Luka Doncic for years. We love Luka. He'd be great in LA.
Put him in the jersey.
He's great friends with Kobe Bryant. This would be awesome. And you know what they told Lakers fans? Keep dreaming. You guys are fools. Until all of a sudden, business in Dallas called to trade him over there. And whether it was stupid or not, they made the decision. So we're here to operate and just discuss all of these trades. The Mason Millers, the Ottos, and down to the Vasquezes.
You know what's ironic? Chris Rose cites that the Padres are going to need more offensive help that's major league ready. And think about this for a sec, okay? They have traded for Juan Soto and Mason Miller and have given up James Wood, right? They gave up C.J. Abrams, and they also gave up DeVries. Now, we don't think that's ridiculous if you keep the players. But if you don't keep the player that you trade for, are you not just pawning off all of your prospects and like letting other teams just get prospects? Like at that point, it doesn't make sense. So to be honest with you, I think it's bad for baseball if the Padres trade Mason Miller. I just don't think that's like, it's not smart. But if he is available, the Yankees should definitely go after him. Here's the thing. The Yankees will not get Mason Miller. There's zero chance. The reason why I say there's zero chance, and I appreciate Chris Rose for predicting that. And Chris Rose has plugs. So like, I find that interesting. It made my ears perk up a little bit. But the reason why I don't think it's possible is because the same reason you told me that there is no chance in hell the Yankees were going to trade for Ohtani. They don't do this. Say that. They don't do it. They just don't.
There's a difference between saying what we can do physically if these people weren't in charge. We're not telling you that San Diego will trade him here in the near future. We're not telling you that the Yankees, whether or not it's like, oh, we think they will. No, knowing them, we don't think even if it was on the table. Like if San Diego called and said, we'll take George Lombard Jr., Spencer Jones, and Jason Dominguez, and here's Mason Miller, the Yankees would be like, we'll give you Will Warren, Spencer Jones, and you can call it good. They're going to give up players that they consider surplus, players at the back end of the rotation, right? Players that they like, but they don't love. They're willing to trade that for a player that they're going to be in love with for the next 7 to 10 years. That's just not how it works. This is why the Yankees got Juan Soto from the Padres in the first place. I see it was a pipe dream in the comment section. No, it wasn't. Juan Soto was pawned off at the last second to the Yankees. We were there when he was most readily available. Everyone knew he was going to free agency. He wasn't signing an early deal, and San Diego knew they weren't going to swim into that deep of waters, so they said, let's get rid of him. Didn't matter how Soto played. It didn't matter if Soto looked like Mason Miller looks now for the team. He still was being traded. Why? Because it was a contract year. That's why Mason Miller probably won't be traded this year or next year. He's likely going to, if he's traded at all, it's going to be in the final year or two of that deal.
And by the way, I love George Lombard Jr. long-term. I think my favorite prospect is Spencer Jones. I'd be willing to part with any of them for the right price. Right. I think strategically, I would like them to try and keep George Lombard Jr. because I think strategically he could be the shortstop of the future. Whereas I'm looking at Spencer Jones and Jason Dominguez and Will Warren, and I'm like, I really like them, as you know, but I don't know what the Yankees' plan is for them. Like, where does Jason Dominguez and Spencer Jones fit into this? One of them is probably going to have a role. The other one
you have
won't.
Cody Bellinger and Aaron Judge. That's 2 spots already in your outfield.
It's a long-ass deal for both of them.
Those are long-term. By the way, guys, just a quick point that needs to be made. Mason Miller here on the screen isn't nearly as valuable as a lot of people are making it out to be. I just want to come out there and say it. He's the best pitcher in the game right now as far as relievers go. Relievers aren't that valuable.
No,
if Mason Miller was put on the market right now and they said, we'll go ahead and take a top position player in the game, they'd laugh and they'd just fart in the phone and hang up. You wouldn't get, everyone always says, oh, is Bobby Witt Jr., would he ever be available? Would this guy be available? And they're talking about position players, right? Outfielders, shortstops, third baseman, like the top in the game, the Ketel Martes when he was 30. Those players are so much more valuable than any reliever in the game. It's not even funny. So when people say that a reliever is completely untouchable, they're just not. Mariano Rivera was untouchable. There was no other reliever where I'm just like, oh, that guy makes a franchise. I don't see it. I don't. And Mason Miller is untouchable
until they're willing to pay him. And they haven't shown that they're willing to put pen to paper.
Under contract, he is completely untouchable. The same way that Bobby Witt Jr. with a contract, it's 11-year deal. He's untouchable. It cannot be traded. It's not possible.
Yeah, I think I would try and do the deal, but I don't think the Yankees will.
I agree.
And that's my thought. I mean, I think his numbers, I think his analytics, I think his just watching him, the eye test just speaks for itself. He is just otherworldly. And the Yankees are in enough close games where you could argue if they had him last year, they win 10 more games. You have him this year, maybe they win 5 more. They haven't blown as many saves this year.
As bad as Devin Williams at one point was. I mean, if we had Mason Miller last year, it's a different conversation. We were a good baseball team that was highly flawed, just so happens to be in the position that Mason Miller plays. But most teams in baseball don't have that need. They just don't.
And by the way,
interesting.
You know, I don't like Brian Cashman. And you know that. But like AJ Preller, I think is overrated. I'm just going to say
Why do you think that?
Because, okay, he's willing to go out and make the big thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what have they done with that? He constantly goes back on their plan. Like the Juan Soto never should have been, you know what I mean?
Juan Soto should have never been traded for, because the reason you traded for him is because Washington said, we can't go into the waters that Soto wants us to go to. It was 14 years. I think it was 400 million, somewhere in that ballpark. He said no. So now that San Diego's traded for him, you're essentially saying we're willing to play.
Yeah.
And they didn't. They essentially, you know what the Padres did? They traded for Soto, and then they said, he's not playing well. We don't want him to stay here. It's just cope. It was cope. In reality, it didn't matter what Soto did in San Diego. You were just trying to win the World Series with Soto on the team, and then you wanted to poach him off, which is exactly what they did. They traded for Soto, looked like the most aggressive team in the room, which at the time they were. And then they said, he's not playing well, so we're going to go reload. You were always reloading. You were never re-signing Soto.
AJ Preller,
I promise you,
is that guy in fantasy football that just trades all day. He gets bored. Like in his life, nothing's going on, and he's just going to trade. He's just going to send a deal because he's like, you know what? I had that itch, man. I really want to do a trade in fantasy football.
Trade my first rounder. The Yankees traded for Juan Soto. Jake, what did we do the following offseason?
He's bugging the guy at his 9 to 5. He's really like, he needs to hit a deadline. He's like, yo, accept my trade.
Yeah, and just a ridiculous trade. Jake, the Yankees trade Michael King. They trade all these guys for Soto. What did the Yankees do the following offseason? They offer Juan Soto a 16-year, $780 million contract.
Exactly.
To be exact. They followed up their trade with a move. The Padres didn't, which proves Mason Miller wasn't traded for in order to give him the extension. They traded for Mason Miller to have control over him for 4 years, and then they'll figure it out later. This is the exact type of organization that would trade Mason Miller. Not that he will be traded, but they're the type of team who would do such a thing, and that is why he's a topic. So, Jake, we had other things we wanted to talk about in regards to the Yankees. What were those topics?
We'll just gloss over them real quick. And I think maybe touch on them more in the next episode, but let's just hit on this real quick. Joel Sherman reported that Ryan Jeffers is the primary target for the New York Yankees.
Love that. Love it.
You know, so if it's all about his health, but like they're waiting on that, and he thinks that could be the move. And then Adley Rutschman is the other option. So he actually thinks that the Orioles would deal with the Yankees, but the price would be expensive, which like
that's fair. By the way, you work in division, it should be expensive, right?
Yeah, there should be a premium.
I think that's fair.
I'm going to give you, because if I have to watch, and keep in mind, this isn't the NFL where it's like, yeah, we're playing each other twice. This is baseball. You're going to play each other like 16 times a year. So it's like, if I have to watch Adley Rutschman in pinstripes, I mean, that's going to be nauseating for me.
Is it weird I want Adley more than Jeffers? Even though Jeffers
is like
weird
because Adley, now you're starting to talk about the future. Same thing when we were talking about, Langoliers. These are pieces, and also these are pieces that are like part of the equation. Like Ryan Jeffers is in a contract year. He could help them win a World Series, but like you don't look at Jeffers as like this guy, like he's good right now. What's he going to look like after the injury, right? Is he a little fluky? Is it because it's a contract? You know what I mean? Like, when you look at Adley Rutschman, there is a real argument that he has a lot of untapped potential, and playing as not the guy, but being behind a Judge and Bellinger, not having all the pressure on him. Because, by the way, you get traded to the Yankees, his number 1 overall pick pressure's gone. I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think that's a really good move. I mean, ideally, Gary, a perfect trade deadline doesn't even involve Mason Miller. A perfect trade deadline is very simple. Skubal, Rutschman. You can't complain at that point.
No, I would absolutely not complain. By the way, Jake, we'll touch on this really quick. What do you have to say? Because I have a very definitive take about Tarek Skubal, about going to get another ace. We have a lot of people circulating in our comment section and other podcasts as well about needs and whether or not, if a Tarek Skubal is available and your team has one of the best rotations in baseball, should you even venture into those waters, considering you have the team needs? And I have one thing to say about it. I hope people are aware, if Tarek Skubal is available on a rental, meaning that Tarek Skubal is not going to cost you every single prospect in your entire system, you should go get the best player available and still circle back and go get a catcher. You're allowed to do two things. And I see it so often in our comment section that Tarek Skubal, but we need a catcher. We need to figure out third base. We need to figure out what we're doing with Anthony Volpe, what we're doing with Caballero. Where are those guys? How does this all fit? Tarek Skubal's available and you're talking about your catcher? Just go get Tarek Skubal and then fix your catcher. We're not trying to trade for Pudge Rodriguez in 1998. These are marginal players and players that are really getting pushed out of their organizations, whether their team's losing in 15 games under 500 or the team found another catcher. That's why Adley's available, guys. It's not going to cost us George Lombard Jr., Spencer Jones, and Jason Dominguez and Will Warren to go get Adley Rutschman. You just have to realize that when Jake's excited about these players like a Skubal, and Jake, I completely agree with you, the mission should be, if Skubal's available, which he is, I'm just telling you guys that right now, he's available. See if he returns to form, which of course is going to be shown to any team readily wanting to trade for this player. If Skubal returns to form, you don't say we've got a ton of rotational depth, we've got a really good 2 and a really good 3. You just go out there and get the best pitcher available and say, we probably win every series we walk into with Cam Schlittler, Tarek Skubal, and Garrett Cole heading that rotation. You don't worry about what's going on with Fried. You don't worry about what you do with Rodon. You just bring the talent in the room and worry about the rest later. But Jake, love the fact that we're starting to circle the wagon on the fact that Skubal should be really mission number 1 because he's available, and then circle back and go get that catcher.
I agree completely, and it's actually very simple. You get Skubal, and if anyone isn't available, like top tier catcher, you settle for Vasquez. It's gonna solve a need. I'm not saying I want him, but like better than nothing, right? You get a right-handed bat. He's much better than what you have, and he's not a bad defensive catcher. There you go. Boom.
Yeah, we talked about the details of it, and
yeah,
was it a player I had on my radar? No, actually, you were the one who went and pulled up those numbers. But once you look at it, his strengths are actually some of our weaknesses, and it just fills a hole and helps make it not such an issue. And I'll tell you right now, Austin Wells at bats today were just dismal. They weren't any good. I know one of his at bats, he flew out to the wall, and I mean, I was rooting for it to fall. There's no question about that, but it just wasn't good. It's a consistently wasted at bat that I don't think, regardless of what you do defensively, you can get away with that type of offense over 500 at bats. I don't think it's doable. And I think Brian Cashman has a way out of this. And
I don't want to get rid of him. It's exactly what I said. I want to keep him, see if we can figure it out over the course of time. But like, even if I get Vasquez, I'm sorry, Vasquez is my starter.
Yeah, we actually both agree. Yeah, we actually both agree on that. That there's some bones to what Austin Wells does. He's just completely lost.
And I'm not ignorant to the fact that there is a learning curve. Like when you go into a new organization, you have all these pitchers, you got to know their, so that it might not be like a natural, like, you know, he can't just become a starter day one. That's not what I'm saying. But I mean,
Right.
once that initial learning curve has just been like, you know, eclipsed, anybody they get would be my starter over Austin Wells right now, because there's, I mean, unless they went out and got Patrick Bailey, which like I still can't believe the dude's hitting, his OPS is below 500. I've never seen that.
Hey, Jake, do you see the comments right now? Now I'm arrogant because I want good players on the team.
Damn arrogant Gary. That's what we're going to call you from now on.
Good Lord. Good Lord. Anywho. Go Yankees with the 5 says, I cannot stand Grisham's lackadaisical. Oh, he's lackadaisical on the triple that was given up early in the inning. Jake, you talked about this. You went straight to it, by the way.
I texted you and I was like, I hate Trent Grisham.
You did. That's actually exactly what you said.
Yeah, I was
like, I hate him.
I hate him. Baseball hate. I don't actually hate the person.
You're so behind that I get to watch the play, and I was hoping you were watching.
Of course I was watching.
It's a lot of baseball. It is.
I know.
But I was hoping you were watching, and I was literally looking at my phone waiting for your text.
I just every time I
Go
watch
Yankees
him,
didn't like the route.
Here's the thing, it's not forced. I feel like in the past, like I couldn't stand Aaron Hicks, but it would almost be forced at times. Like I almost wanted to dislike him more. And there would be times like, okay, it's not like actually, no. Naturally, my body becomes physically ill when I watch Trent Grisham in the outfield. I hate watching Trent Grisham. I hate it.
Is it the effort or is it the routes, as Go Yankees talks about? Or is it both?
It's everything. He's like, oh my God. I feel like we're rehashing what we talked about like at the 20-minute mark. But here's the thing, like real quick, is that like Trent Grisham plays so far in, he has no range. So anything hit to the wall, like the Yankees, they hit a bunch of stuff to the wall. That's always caught. Trent Grisham never catches those, ever. So it's like, I don't know why he's out there. Plus, I'm a big Spencer Jones fan. So even before Spencer Jones, like before I realized, oh wow, Spencer Jones came to the show, like he's now in the conversation. Now that I've been exposed to that and I saw Spencer Jones for MLB level, I saw, you know, to myself, I saw his defense. I don't want anything to do with Trent Grisham in center field. I would rather play Judge in center field, and I hated playing Judge in center field. I would rather play Bellinger in center field, and I love playing Bellinger in left because he's the best fielder. Left is the toughest position to play at Yankee Stadium. And oh, by the way, his arm. I love in the corner outfield, you have Judge, his arm, which is like 90 miles an hour, close to it, and Bellinger's is 89. Like, I love that. Guess what Grisham's is? Around 80. And you see it every time. He does the whole...
My favorite is when he basket catches a ball into the gap. I've never seen that. He's just basket catching balls.
He's basket catching line drives. I can't stand watching him, Gary. I am going to explode someday. I'm going to explode.
Oh, man.
I am going to be that guy that freaking punches the TV. Okay?
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen to me. Like, oh my God, somebody did
So
Baby
it's a combination
Shark.
of both. It's a combination of routes.
Brian Cashman did Baby Shark. Grisham sucks. Do.
Oh my God. I did see that. Jesus. Yeah. And Brian, again, Spencer Jones has a great arm. The one thing that Spencer Jones doesn't have is he doesn't have an MLB ready bat. Like, not that he can't do it. We just don't know for a fact he can do it. And so I think the Yankees are trying to raise their floor by just putting a guy out there who can hit 210, who can walk a lot, and then pass it to the next guy who then will hit right in the 2 or 3 spot. Spencer Jones doesn't really provide that. Essentially, Spencer Jones is going to have to slide into the 6 or 7 spot in the lineup. And they just don't feel like the floor is where they want it. Do I think it's the right choice? No. But it's the choice they're making, and it's the choice that we cover. And not every day is what we cover, what Jake wants. What I want is that what happens. And that's natural. That's completely normal with sports teams. Jersey Girl, 420 Blaze It. with the 10 says, considering the Yankees were on a hot streak before this game, does this loss confirm underlying concerns about the team's offensive depth when forced to adjust mid-series and Wells is still a bum? So, Jake, when we're talking about offensive depth, how much offensive depth would the Seattle Mariners, how much offensive depth do they look like they have now that the big dumper looks like a big dump? Not much.
They don't look like they have anything.
They don't look like they have anything. But here's what Seattle's expecting at some point or another this season, that he's going to maybe not rubber band back to where he was last year, but somewhere comparable where you can identify that it looks like the same baseball player. And you know whose offense is going to look a lot better and like it has more depth? The Mariners.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's going to look like. The Yankees without Aaron Judge's output, and that includes while he was playing, because he was not Aaron Judge this past 2-3 weeks. The offensive depth isn't there. It's just not. And that's with Paul Goldschmidt playing well. It's with Ben Rice playing well. It's with Caballero playing well. All these guys
on
are
the other side of Grisham. I love Paul Goldschmidt.
Oh, you do. You were texting me all day about Paul Goldschmidt today.
He's like Matthew Stafford. Like, I wish he was here sooner. Like, you got him late in his career, and you'll take him for as long as you have him.
Yeah.
I wish he was here. They should have gotten him before he ever went to Arizona.
He started in Arizona.
St. Louis, my bad. St. Louis.
No, that's a fair point. I don't remember the age that he got there. I think it was probably 32.
That's when they should have gotten him. That's when the Rams got Stafford. But
it is. Wait, hold on a second. Who was our first baseman at that point? Because we're talking, I believe, 5 years ago.
No. 5 years
ago? No, it
might
might have been. That's the name I thought about. So, no, that's 2021. Greg Bird wasn't our first baseman. No, he wasn't.
No, there's no way. He was a while ago.
Who was our first baseman in 2021?
Jason Giambi.
Right.
He was probably my favorite, by the way. I love Giambi. Oh, it was Luke Voigt, Anthony Rizzo, and Jay Bruce. Jay Bruce, what a throwback. I liked Luke Voigt, but they moved off of Luke Voigt to get Tyler Austin. They took their first baseman and turned him into an outfield asset. And the Yankees, they decided not to go after Paul Goldschmidt. So that's why the Cardinals did that.
Who was the guy you said they gave up? You said they gave up on
Tyler
Luke
Austin.
Voigt for who? Tyler Austin? Yeah, the only thing I think of when I think of Tyler Austin was that time he got his ass kicked by Joe Kelly.
The only time I think of Tyler Austin is literally right before Aaron Judge hit his first ever home run. Tyler Austin, his first ever home run. That
is true. He did. The baby bombers.
Yeah, the baby bombers. Tyler Austin was shipped out 2 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God. But
such
yeah,
a
no,
feel-good story. Jersey Girl, thank you.
I liked Luke Voigt. I have a friend of mine that's like really good friends with him. So like, you know, she got really into it. Like she was really rooting for him. And it was cool to see him like emerge with the Yankees. But yeah, I really would have liked Paul Goldschmidt. If I ever get a time machine, I'm going back in time and changing that. I don't know how, but Paul Goldschmidt will be a Yankee.
Ironically, if Brian Cashman could invent a time machine, he'd do it the same all over again because he believes his luck would change the second time around.
Yep.
Ghost Rider, thank you
That's
for the
a great
10.
point.
Says salute, gentlemen. Salute.
Hey,
who was it? Darvin Ham who did that? I'll never forget it.
Darvin Ham?
Yes. He goes, they were playing good defense, and he goes, gentlemen, salute.
Dude, Darvin Ham was a meme. Don't even bring me back to those days because I'm a Laker fan, and I just remember somebody took the clipboard from him and threw it, and I just started cracking up. No one respected him.
Nope. No one at any level.
He was Doc Rivers DLC, but he didn't have a ring.
A lot of people in here are probably like, what do you mean?
DLC
Doc Rivers
pack.
is a great coach. Jake and I don't think so.
I can't stand Doc Rivers.
Yeah. So Ghost Rider, thank you for the 10.
No.
Right. He says, thank you guys for all the effort you put into producing the show at the deadline. What is the pressing need, catcher or bullpen help? The most pressing need, in my opinion, is catcher. I know people keep telling me that bullpen is the biggest issue because the bullpen's not pitching well. I think the Yankees have They have the means in-house to figure it out and patch it up, not to be a strong group, but to be good enough to pass. There's no one within the organization who could even grab a catcher's mitt and do something I want to be done. Not one of them. Austin Wells can't throw. He can block and frame. He can't hit. He's not hitting for power. He's not slugging. He's not doing any of the things that you need him to do. JC's not hitting for contact, power, or throwing the ball well. None of it is going well. The biggest need, Ghost Rider, is catcher.
They
need to get
right.
a catcher and then go get a catcher and another catcher. And then if you want to get Tarek Skubal, you go that route. But my God, does this team need a catcher in the worst way?
You just did the meme, the video back in the day, and we'll put some more protein, and we'll put protein, and how about another scoop of protein, and we'll add another scoop of protein. Like, that's basically what you do with the catcher. Here's what I'm going to say. Catcher, look at your farm system. Peyton Henry is just, it's not even 700 OPS anymore. Peyton Henry is
Who was it that told us to get Peyton Henry? Was that Marion? Who was that?
I don't know. Someone said he's not good.
He's hashtag not good.
And Alex said Doc Rivers is an overcooked Jason Garrett.
He is.
That's
exactly
insane.
What he is. He's not a good coach. He had Rajon Rondo, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett. And they won one championship. And they just talked about one championship for 18 years. He literally was hired in Milwaukee for his championship pedigree. That's what they said. His championship pedigree. Because Giannis wanted to stay a Buck. And he had to win. He wants to be traded, clearly. But he needs to make it so that they get rid of him. So their last-ditch effort was to bring Doc Rivers in there, who was instantly fired because he's not good at what he does.
Yeah, so
he's just not good.
So this is what I'm going to say. By the way, Yuri De Los Santos is struggling this year in the minors, probably because he's, they don't use him. So that's probably he's probably just cooked at this point. But he's struggling. Then who was the other guy? Ali Sanchez.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
233, 730 OPS. Mind you, Gary, they had two catchers last year. They had Rodriguez and they had Flores. Both guys were tearing the cover off the ball. And they traded them away. Flores was traded for Bednar. We liked the move. It sucked to let him go because you kind of knew when you're like, they're really going all in on Austin Wells.
Yeah,
here.
It was the right move. Yeah.
But it was the right move. The Rodriguez move was for Doval. So it was the right move at the time. It definitely kind of stings a bit now because you're like, well, Rodriguez could hit. Nobody in AAA can hit. This is where, by the way, this is how you identify what your most pressing need is. What do you have in-house? Yankees have nothing at catcher. Nothing. They're way behind the eight ball. They're probably going to draft somebody this year. It's probably going to be Daniel Jackson if he's there. I think it makes a lot of sense. Or they'll take another prep school shortstop.
It actually makes no sense, Jake, to draft in baseball a position of need because that player won't be ready for 4 years. Who's to say that the Yankees won't just bring in a catcher 4 years from now?
I get what you're saying, but I think it makes sense if you're looking for a guy to come up quick, you draft a guy that has 4 or 5 years in college.
If he comes up quick, completely agree.
From college. He's not a prep guy.
That is definitely a good part to that. 100%.
That's where I'm like, because also that's going to hurt him too, because everyone loves their prep school guys. But I think they're going to need to draft a player that's more likely to come up quicker because, Gary, this is the risk you run when you go all in on Austin Wells. And look, all three of their trades looked really good when they made them for their catchers. They traded Narvaez and got ERC. I still think that's one of the most underrated moves they made. They also traded away Agustin Ramirez to get Jazz Chisholm. Like, I've loved every single one of their moves that they've made trading away catchers, but maybe Brian Cashman should have tried to be a little bit more careful about just dishing all his catchers away. Their two catchers in AAA are guys that are just like proven bouncing between different teams, free agents. Like these are
They took a
mercenary
gamble.
guys.
They thought Austin Wells was going to be. It wasn't JC Escar. JC Escar is here to just sit down next to coach and play every once in a while. They thought Austin Wells was going to be better, and you know what? I thought he would be better. Jake thought he would be better. Even though there's so many people in our comments that are like, Austin Wells sucks. If you take what everyone's comments were 2 years ago, yes, there were times where we were like, this dude sucks. But there were also a lot of moments where you're like, 2 years ago? Oh, he's actually giving us something. If he could just hit 225 with some pop and just play defense, that we'll take this. Essentially speaking, offensively, we were looking for Trent Grisham. Just hit 25 homers at the catcher's position. We'll take 20 home runs, 25 home runs, hit 220. That's not great. But 220, we're not looking for Real Muto, 280. That's not what we're looking for. Just hit for power. He's not slugging now. That's a problem. If you're on the team to be this offensive-minded catcher, you can't become a defensive-minded catcher and think people aren't going to have a problem with it. They do. So that's where we're at, Jake. We just went from an offensive-minded player that people are like, I hope we get a Diet Coke Corey Posada out of this. And he turned into a defensive catcher.
Yeah. And looking in AA, they don't really have anybody. They've like their catcher in AA is Miguel Palma. He's hitting 180. That doesn't
sound like a good player. That sounds like a created player. I don't know who that is. And by the way, guys, please take the stats at the minor league level with a grain of salt. I understand that people are like, oh, the AA pitching is great. It's like the highest level of pitching you'll see other than the big leagues. There's still levels to pitching. And a guy with a 740 ops at the AA level isn't better than, I'm sorry, it's not better than even a guy at the big league level with a 650. Just not. It's that much easier to hit down there. And if it wasn't, players would be getting called up left and right. GMs know this. They know that Spencer Jones can go destroy AA. We sent him to AAA, Jake. He destroyed AAA. And then he came up to the big leagues, and you see a different level. And we're more aware that that's what you're going to see. You're going to see Eovaldi's, and you're going to see the Tarek Skubals and the DeGromes. They make it look a lot different than AA guys.
Holy Toledo. We're over 2 hours.
I don't know where the time went. I feel like this show flew.
Yeah. I mean, I looked up and it was like an hour. Now it's 2 hours, and we still have 253 people in it. It's insane.
Yeah, anytime you say that, though, we do drop off because people are like, hold on a second. I can't have them being viewed by 253 people. By the way, guys, if you're new here or if you're here every day, you already know, please hit the like button. If you're hanging out with us, if you're on TV, I get it, why maybe you wouldn't. But if you're on your phone or your computer, your laptop, hit the like button and help us out. Bautista with the 5 says, hey, guys, did Boone pick the lineup out of a hat? Also, why is the leading RBI man leading off? Jake hates when Ben Rice leads off. I personally don't mind it against righties, but it just isn't working. So I think Jake has a pretty good point here that if something doesn't work for someone who has an ops over 1,000, you probably should just use them in the only spot that clearly works.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Rice leading off. Goldschmidt should lead off, and he really showed you why he comes through. I said it then, it sounded crazy to some. I'll say it again. Goldschmidt is a top 5 first baseman in the league right now.
He's playing great baseball. He also, to be fair,
they are 900 OPS.
Boone made the right decision.
Yes.
He made the decision that now that our DH and the DH is out hurt, he's always hurt. Always.
That's another discussion that
we'll talk about that next episode. And it's a good talk because Stanton provides some positives, but he also provides a lot of negative with his, regardless of play, his inability to stay on the field is a net negative, no matter which way you slice. I don't care how he's playing. The fact that you're not on the field consistently just creates too much turnaround for what we've got to do and who's got to play where. But uniquely right now, Boone's making the right choice that you've got to get Goldschmidt and Rice in the lineup at the same time. And that's actually paying dividends for the Yankees offense. Those two aren't a problem. It's what's happening 6 through 9 that's become such a problem for this team that I hope it's solved itself. But Bautista, thank you for the super chat. We're getting there,
appreciate
Jake.
You.
Brian Bashman with the 5 says, if anyone is ever interested in the greatest prospect that ever that never was, check out the season that Joe Bauman had in 1954 in the minor leagues. I will save
Bauman.
that.
Huh.
Yeah,
I've heard his name before.
I've never heard of his name, but I will save it, and I'll get back to you on that, Brian. But we really appreciate that. Maybe we'll bring it up on the show. Bulls NYY fan says with the 5, what position player not on a long-term contract should the Yankees trade for to fortify the lineup outside of a catcher? So no catcher, but a position player. You have to imagine we're looking at third base here, Jake. No, right? We got too many cooks in the kitchen in the outfield. Stanton, right? DH, you're probably looking for a third baseman. Are there any players that are somewhat realistic, that aren't Ketel Martes and that they're not way up there in the market, that are a better offensive option than McMahon, more realistic, probably a contact first bat? Who would be available? I know I've heard some rumblings about whether or not, and people are going to get mad at the messenger here, but Rafael Devers is a player that I've heard floated around that could become available. Do you dabble with Rafi Devers? He's a highly paid player who's a horrendous defender that we've seen kill it at Yankee Stadium. Kill Aroldis Chapman. He can hit velocity, but he's also shown just as much inconsistency as you see from Jazz Chisholm or Trent Grisham. This man is the epitome of inconsistency. At one moment, he looks like a David Ortiz at Yankee Stadium hitting Garrett Cole. We can't get him out. We're having to intentionally walk this man. And the next moment, the Giants get him, and they become the worst team in baseball after the trade. Don't know what to make of that player.
Yeah, so I think you listed the right team, the wrong player. Arias, easily, without a doubt.
Who do you target?
What do you mean?
Oh, I know where you're doing with this. You're going Arias, aren't you?
That's what I just said.
Oh, I didn't even hear you. Sorry, I was reading the chat. That's on me.
It's fine. You're that person that like turns down the volume when you're turning in a car because you're like, hold on,
yeah.
I need to see what I'm doing.
What address does that say right there? Let me just turn that down. Huh? Yeah,
it actually makes sense mentally. I understand. But anyway,
I got nicer headphones, but I've never really misheard you with my AirPods. So this is it's a bad day for the Maxes.
Hey, it happens. Yeah, I'm not a big Devers fan because he's such a glaring hole as like a defender, right? But Arias, that's taking away, because like if Arias comes in, he's gonna replace somebody, and at that point that would be taking away from like all or nothing bats to, hey, we're gonna go out, and you're essentially getting like a Stephen Kwan type of guy in the infield. That's what you're getting. You watch Stephen Kwan today. He had a nice base knock there. Runs the bases really well. Arias doesn't run the bases anywhere near as well as Stephen Kwan, but man, that dude,
Stephen Kwan's having a bad year. Do you see what Alex just put in our comment section? He said, horrible defense and inconsistent, plus a terrible contract. You say Cashman's pants are tightening. Oh.
Whoa,
my God.
Holy hell.
Because you know what?
We don't need AI
take on a
of
bad
that.
contract.
Do not send us AI of that.
I know. So if you go get Luis Arias, he should be available. The Giants suck. They are horrible. And I'd feel comfortable saying that.
That's got to be one we do soon.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah.
Because it seems like people's panties got in a wad. The second we said Mason Miller, everyone's like, you guys think you're getting Mason Miller? I'm like, I literally just, Jake, I started off the conversation saying we don't think we're getting him, and people still just, their panties got in a wad.
Think about this, right? We're doing this breakdown every day. We have to talk about guys that won't even be possible, but like have at least like an inkling of a shot, because we're going to run out of players. Think about that.
You don't want to talk about Vasquez's for the rest of the season?
We're not going to, we refuse to repeat. We refuse to repeat. We're not going to repeat breakdowns. What we'll do is we can rehash players. We can talk about players. I mean, Arias, technically we did it unofficially, but we never made a clip about it. We never broke it down like the way we do it now. But it's like, guys, we have to literally, if we're going to commit to the bit, which we are, we got to do it every day. Yeah, hate to break it to you, there's not enough players in this league that could be traded for us to just make this realistic heaven. Like you're gonna see those guys that are like a 5% chance to mix it in so we can get through everybody and we don't repeat guys.
Like
And-
someone's gonna trade for Doval. I just want everyone to realize Doval is gonna be traded for another organization. And imagine a creator for that team being like, so the realistic player to be picked up is Camilo Doval. Here's the reason we're going to get him. He throws 103 and his ERA is about infinity and beyond. He's not good in any way. He was in an all-star game in 2023. It's not good content. Nobody wants to hear that. And we're aware of that. So there's going to be some unrealistic pickups that we talk about that are long shots. But Jake, I keep giving your team credit. The Rams just traded for Myles Garrett, the best player in the game, other than quarterbacks, probably the best non-quarterback in the NFL. And a lot of people would say the Browns should never trade a player of that magnitude. This is a first ballot Hall of Famer. They get rid of him for business purposes. They don't feel like their team's ready to win. They send him to a team who was already Super Bowl, not just contenders. They were literally the leaders in the clubhouse to win the Super Bowl, and they traded for the best player in the NFL. So that's just how sometimes the business works. It's the reason we covered Mason Miller. It's the reason we're going to talk Arias. We're not going to talk Bobby Witt Jr. We know when enough's enough in terms of realism. We know when the difference between MLB The Show trades and trades that are unlikely but possible. And Bobby Witt Jr., unfortunately, is not going to be on the plate.
Sorry, Gary, you can add your boy Jose Ramirez to that as well.
Yeah, Jose Ramirez, I've moved on.
Yeah.
He's old. He's old enough where I can
There's another man out there for you. Don't worry.
What, is it Mason Miller?
Yeah, it's Mason Miller.
Yeah, it is Mason Miller.
At least that team is starting to struggle. The Guardians just beat the Yankees. How stupid would we be? Oh, like Jose Ramirez makes a lot of sense, and he's the reason like they lost tonight. Would be the dumbest thing ever. Would be the dumbest stance.
Jose Ramirez killed us tonight.
Good lord,
he
always
awful.
does. He's a Yankee
yeah, he was
killer.
awful to play against tonight. But Jake, I feel like we've 2 hour and 16-minute podcast. Did not expect us to go this long. Let's get to our prize picks. And we'll punt everything else to another show because otherwise we're going to go Django Unloaded.
Django Unloaded. Well, now we know what people are putting in the comment section.
Yep.
All right. Let's do it. So, Garrett Cole is on the hill. Appointment TV tomorrow. Just like tonight. It didn't go well, but it doesn't make it like it wasn't an appointment TV.
Tonight was a movie.
But here's the thing. Garrett Cole is coming off a 10 strikeout performance his last time out. Yep. Facing Gavin Williams. I think he pitched the clinching game, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I remembered. See, my memory is not totally in the dust now.
It's all that sleep you're getting.
Getting a lot more of it. Gavin Williams had 11 strike. Wow, that's kind of interesting. 10 strikeouts. He had 11, although his last start he had 4. We're going to stay away from his strikeouts here. But I want to see what's Garrett Cole's numbers career. That's what I want to see against these Guardians, right? Guardians hitters versus Garrett Cole. I know, Gary, I love the Garrett Cole strikeouts.
Why not?
Do you have any objection?
No.
Okay, we're not doing demon, but we're not going goblin either. Okay, so Jose Ramirez is trouble. Good Lord, is he trouble? Let's not. How about this? Let's not pitch to Jose Ramirez at all this series. How about that?
Well, anytime we tell Garrett Cole who not to pitch to, like, remember how many times we had this conversation about Devers? We're like, let anyone else beat you. And Devers beat us every time. And then one of those days, he intentionally walked him and everyone had a fit. I'm like, what do you want him to do?
Yeah, it's, I know.
Yeah, give me Cole's K's. We took that. Any players, is Gavin Williams still throwing 96, 97? Is he still working the cheese? Give me Ben Rice.
Ben Rice. Okay.
Yeah, every time, and you say this all the time. I don't want to steal your line. Anytime we see velocity, Ben Rice is the selection.
I always feel good about Ben Rice. Yeah. Yeah, I do. Hold on a sec.
I like Grisham for the hits, runs, and ribbies. I expect him to score tomorrow. I expect him to walk.
Okay.
Not picking him to hit a homer. I'm not picking hits. I'm not taking any of those things.
It's kind of tough because I don't really like anything else. I mean, Bellinger against a righty.
I don't love that, but I mean, we do love Belly at home. I don't love the Belly pick. I don't.
Yeah, I don't either.
And Jazz is always just sitting down there, and we just never pick the poor guy.
We should honestly just pick Grisham to walk. It feels like.
Yeah, that's a better pick because I'm not really trying to watch him hope that he scores. I want him to score, but
no, that's
he's
like
trying to
asking
walk
a lot. They
should have how many basket catches will Grisham have tomorrow? It's just over 2.5 basket catches. How many times will he jog to the ball?
This dude strikes out like it's his job.
Twice, 3 games in a row.
Did you just see that? Look at what is that?
Something's got to give, I guess.
But, there's somebody out there, look, he's due, and they'll take the under.
Kyle's probably going to get the day off tomorrow.
You think Manzardo doesn't play?
Yeah, they might give him a day. They're like, you're seeing Garrett Cole. He's got his stuff. He's actually Garrett Cole. He's not just a returning vet. You've struck out 6 times the last 3 games combined.
I really
think
hate
you're gonna
this
sit
dude's
down.
name. He's striking out tomorrow because I want him to.
Okay. Let's go ahead and take that, and then let's take the power play.
Okay. Did you see that? I tried to, and it's just like the thing wouldn't do it.
It's a sign.
This right here tells you everything. He doesn't strike out.
Bad year. Just putting the ball in play a lot. Just go into gloves.
Ryan McMahon. No, it's a righty on the mound, so I'm gonna
Ryan McMahon
actually
will play tomorrow.
Where's Volpe? I guess he's not there.
You want Volpe against a righty?
To strike out, yeah.
Oh.
But he's not there, so.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Valid.
All right. Well, let's just keep it at Schneeman, Manzardo, Grisham, Rice, and Cole. Power play is going to put you at 65. So let's let it rip. You can let it rip over at Prize Picks. Play $5 and get $50 instantly in lineups using the code HMA. Links in the description below. And be sure to check it out. It's available in 40 states. And as Gary says, I'm bringing it back.
Get to swimming.
Get swimming if you are in Hawaii, because it's not one of them. Greatest thing you've ever said. Like, when you said it, it was just like, yeah, so it's not in Hawaii. Yeah, if you live in Hawaii, start swimming.
That's a tough swim. I don't think you'd make it from Hawaii to the mainland. That'd be tough.
Alex is going to make us some meme of that.
I did watch a TikToker. This one dude, I think he had like some type of disease where he basically was saying he wanted to take more control of his life, and he set sail from Washington to Hawaii and made it. I watched the whole story on TikTok. One of the best stories of 2025. It was crazy.
Was it AI generated?
No, yeah, if it was, I'd be pissed. No, and Netflix is going to make a movie about him someday. But no, the dude now is like a rich TikToker, so it's pretty ironic that he was this like feel good story, and now he's a wealthy.
How
boater.
big was the boat, Gary?
The boat, you just have to research it for yourself. I mean, I'm not. It was probably like a 30-foot boat. It's huge.
Okay,
it was big. Yeah.
So,
well, he's like, it was this big. I mean, I don't know.
All right,
but it was crazy.
So what should they put? Django? No, I feel like we did Django before.
We've done Django because that was back in our day when we used to do movies. And I actually, believe it or not, I like the movie segment better. But I digress.
All right.
What do you think they should put in the comment section?
How about this? Let's go with I've been playing this game lately, 007. Let's go.
Oh, you talking about Firelight or the new one?
First Light? Yeah.
First Light. There you go. Firelight.
I mean, it's fire. It's like, have you ever played Uncharted?
No, I've seen it though.
Okay, well, it's a lot like Uncharted. So drop 007. It's a great game. Highly recommend it. Yeah. You can put 007 or First Light.
007. That is Austin Wells' batting average the past, like, I don't know, month and a half. Drop 007 in the comment section. Jake, that's a great point because I probably need to go get this game.
You do.
Drop 007 in the comment section if you stuck around with us for 2.5 hours. Really appreciate everyone who was here that is new and has also been here a while. Be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell icon to be notified every time we go live. We're live every single day. Like the video 007.
Check out Patreon.
Oh, yeah.